Welcome to the I Love Mondays podcast week in review.
I love Mondays with Mike Heller.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed bunker in the Badger State, this is I Love Mondays with Mike Heller. Powered by determination and a little bit of duct tape. Here's your host, Mike Heller.
Let me bring in a guest. Christine Barnacki is, now listen, I don't know how this gets on a business card. She is the Vice President, Engagement, Stewardship, and Corporate Philanthropy, Children's Hospital Foundation. If they had business cards, you'd need a 5x7.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
definitely. It's a mouthful.
Yeah. 38th version of this event here today. And I start to see all these folks filter in. It's got to be a source of pride for what Children's has done, but also for the effect of what today is financially, because that's the reason.
Absolutely. Well, we're so grateful we're going to have nearly 200 people here today supporting the work that we're doing at Children's Wisconsin, which is absolutely amazing. This event in the last 37 years has raised over $4.5 million, and that money stays here in the Northeast to help the kiddos in this area.
Yeah, I think that's an important part. Now, we're obviously in Appleton at Butamore. You talk about Fox Cities. That these monies, because Children's is obviously, Milwaukee is a big center, but the money that's raised today stays here, doesn't go there.
Correct. It stays in the Northeast. It stays in the communities where everyone is from that's in this area. And it really helps us do things. We call it care closer to home.
Yeah.
So it allows us to expand the services that we have in this region so that families don't have to travel down to Milwaukee and interrupt their routines, interrupt their family flow, and that they can spend more time together.
Yeah. And the involvement of Brian Butch, and I think Butch, you'll come back in here, but you know what I'm talking about. He's being pulled in 17 different directions here this morning. His involvement has helped tremendously, I would assume.
Absolutely. He's amazing. We're so grateful to have his support. We have an amazing volunteer committee that really helps the team execute this event. But without Brian, it would be really challenging. He helps to coordinate all the legends, and he really cares so much about the work that we're doing at Children's.
Yeah, and it is having Blake as part of the process, being here a couple of years ago was just a few weeks after Blake had a brain surgery. The emotional touch, which is, you don't want it, but it's real. And when Brian's attached to it and it's his child, he and Megan and Blake is here, that is a touchstone moment, isn't it?
It definitely is. You're giving me chills as you're saying that, because a lot of families say, we hope we never have to use Children's Wisconsin, but gosh, when they need it, they're so grateful that they have it, and especially in their backyard.
Yeah. So what is today for you? I mean, obviously this is front and center in your wheelhouse of what you do. But what is today like for you? And you've been involved with it for a while.
I have. This is my 10th Children's Wisconsin Open. And what it brings to me is just really the pride of the community and sponsors. This event is sponsored by Myron Construction. We have so many other sponsors. And when you think about the history of Children's Wisconsin, we were founded by the community over 130 years ago. And today we still rely on the generosity of the community to do the things that we do. A lot of the things we do at Children's, we can't bill insurance, or it's not fully covered by Medicaid. So we need philanthropy to help the kids of Wisconsin.
Christine, one of the great things about being part of this event is, and I mentioned Blake, but you also bring out other kids, and they're on the 9th green and they get hit butts, and they have so much fun and being part of it. They don't fully get the bigger picture, but their parents do, we do, the adults in the room, and they bring a lot of money to the cause today.
Absolutely. We have 2 kiddos that created the golf towel today, and the 2 kids were so excited to go see their towel that they created come to life. So it's nice that we can bring kids into the work that we're doing.
Fantastic. Christine, thank you. I appreciate it. Hope the day goes well. Listen, it wouldn't be this outing if we didn't have a low weather threat. Last year it was like 8 degrees outside. It's what it felt like. It was cold and windy and rainy. My group, half of them came they didn't play the back nine. They said, no, I've had enough. Because it was, but today maybe we'll dodge a few early morning rain showers and be all good.
Hopefully we will. Thank you for all your support as well.
Christine, thank you. Appreciate you being part of this process.
Grateful to be here and invited, and still be remembered after 70 years.
Well, I mean, you left a legacy, so I mean that's on you. So I've always been happy and lucky to be your friend, and
man.
And what you did on
both ways.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about what your impressions are of the things going on. More official visits over the weekend with commitments, and Wisconsin football is in a place that is very uncomfortable right now, but it appears that they are moving in the right direction, both in the transfer portal and next year's recruiting class. You're just going to have to play well enough on the field to bear the fruit of those recruiting classes. What's your vision of this, Ben?
Well, I feel the momentum shifting in our direction. I think, the first, 3 or 4 years of Luke's tenure, with NIL being so undetermined and trying to figure that out was hard, but it's really trending in our direction. I think a microcosm of this whole deal is our offensive line. Yeah, and I think I see our offensive line developing. I like the new offensive line coach. I think we've got a solid offensive line. Now, we're going to take the next step here with those in-state recruits. Obviously, putting that fence around the state like Coach Alvarez did is critical. But that's where I see the momentum going. I think we've got really, really good talent around that offensive line, but now they got to step up and be the difference maker.
Tark, when they're having a recruiting go like this, like they've been in, do we in the media, and I'm talking about me because I can't speak to anybody else, do we give too much credit to what Cooper Catalano and Mason Posa, guys like that mean? Because players recruit players, right? I know the coaches are front and center, but players go to play with other players. How much does that matter?
Yeah, I think it's critical. I think not only do they want to play with other players, but the current players can filter the players that are coming in. Yeah. You may have a 5-star kid.
Works both ways.
If he's not our kind of guy, if he's not smart, tough, and dependable, and he's kind of a dope. Yeah. Players should give feedback to the coaches and then maybe move on from that player. But then also, if he's a great kid, really embrace that kid and help in that effort. So.
What about Jeff Grimes? Second year in, and now, I mean, there are two elements to play. One, you brought up offensive line, and two is a quarterback who can threaten you in multiple ways. And it appears they not only have one, Colton Joseph is QB1, but they've got a number of quarterbacks in that room that can threaten you. And in the last few years, injury, but otherwise they haven't had a quarterback that was up to this position.
Yeah, I generally don't like quarterbacks, but I love,
that's true.
I love the good ones, and you need one in order to operate the system. I think, first of all, Coach Grimes he's an offensive lineman, and he loves to run the ball, whether it be by the quarterback position or running back position. I think he's doing great things, and what he's got with that quarterback, he's got 4 quarterbacks that they all can run the same system. Yeah. So you don't have to really tweak it for one guy and the other. They're going to come in and run that system. The kid last year, what I love about him, he may not be the sexiest thrower right now, but he won games. When that ball snaps, that's a differentiator. So all these guys have to prove that when the ball snaps, they could execute and compete. Because we need those 4 guys, because obviously you can get hurt.
And that guy that threatens you from the quarterback position, not just with his arm but with his legs. I imagine you in your playing days, that was the guy you didn't like to play against.
Well, yeah, you got a guy like Cordell Stewart, right?
Yeah, that would happen.
Yeah, and when they ran that option, it was just like, holy cow, how are you going to stop this? Yeah. So he was a guy that was exponentially in that realm.
Big word.
Dual threat. Yeah.
Word.
So that's a big word. I have to take a break. We have to rest the brain. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it's all about options. Yeah. And you talk about the NFL. The great ones go through 3 progressions or 4 progressions, like Brady and Montana could. Right. I don't care what those options are, but you have to have them. So in this system, if you can run with the quarterback, run with the running back, if you can hit the tight end, those are 3, right? Yeah. Now, if you can go from the tight end to another, now you're really getting 4. So the more options you're able to create, the harder it is on the defense.
Yeah. How much does the decision that's made at athletic director at the University of Wisconsin dictate how the plan works going forward?
Well, I think it's a huge position, a huge
decision that they're going to make. Yeah,
how it affects everything. I think whether if it's Marcus or somebody else, whoever that is, we need to get out and tell that story, whatever the story, the vision, create that vision, because it's ever changing still, the landscape, and how we're able to be nimble and work with the NIL landscape where we could provide opportunities for both the revenue and non-revenue sports is critical. And we got to tell that story to the shareholders and with the donors.
Yeah.
And dealing with escalating costs that come along with that NIL. I think we have had a really good infrastructure right now to compete this year, but it's going to go up. So we need to go out, tell our story, explain our vision, because Wisconsin fans want to know if they're going to participate.
Yeah.
How is our dollars going to be spent? And do we know what we're doing? So I think if we're able to tell that story, get out there, both not only in Wisconsin, I mean, getting around to the coast, sure, there's a lot of alumni.
Yep.
Just telling the story, evangelizing, we're in it, man. And it'd be a good compliment to Luke, because Luke wants to get out there. And he just needs another a partner there leading the ship.
Yeah, you're one of those. You became a lifer, a Madison, a UW lifer. I mean, you're from the East Coast. I mean, this is not home, but you made it home. And they need the current crop of Wisconsin players in this era where players don't make any place home for more than a year at a time. They need a little bit of that too, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's a special place, right? And I could have stayed in Cleveland, where I loved Cleveland, and I loved Connecticut. But Wisconsin was really special to me, and there's a lot of guys coming back. There's Havenstein, Joe Thomas, Ryan Groy. There's Travis Frederick, Travis Beckham. I mean, there's a lot of guys. I see Melvin Gordon a ton.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I see a lot of guys coming back to Madison, and I think it's a special place, and that's why I think guys need to stay in state, because that's what makes us. I think it puts us over the top, even though I love Connecticut guys. We had great success in Jersey and Ohio, but having those in-state kids stay is important.
Are you any good out there? Like
I'm a ham and egger.
Oh, okay. So your group. I mean, your personality. I mean, they're going to love you.
Yeah, I could rally.
A little bit of rally.
I could rally, so I don't embarrass myself. It's not. I'm not built for playing my own ball. You know what I mean?
I got it. Well, that's what this is perfect for you.
All
right, you can get out of here and go have some breakfast. Hey, on your way out, grab Brian Butch. Brian Butch sits down, and I think I guilted him into doing this. He's got 17 different directions he can be going right now. Buddy, I appreciate you sitting down. I love this event because I love you and what it stands for. And obviously it's been very personal for you. 38, you haven't been around for all of them, but you've been around for a few of them.
I've been around for enough of them. 8th year in the role I am right now. It's kind of the celebrity director. Or I don't know. They just put names on stuff. I just get good people to show up. I think it's the biggest thing. People that care. Ultimately, it's this. And it's very simple. You get people that are unselfish, which the University of Wisconsin is. That's why there's so many guys there that realize it's about something bigger than themselves. And because of that, it sets up for guys come in and give their time and effort. I think that's the thing that we look forward to. Obviously, it hits home with our son, but our daughters have all been through children's in some capacity. Everybody has something. That's the reality of life. We all have something. We all look at things, and so the ability to be able to help. What I love is I grew up here in the Fox Valley. The majority of this money was staying here in the Fox Valley and help the kids. Children's Hospital built a brand new facility up here a couple of years ago, and whether it's checkups, appointments, it means families don't have to drive down to Milwaukee. That's really important. Not everybody has the time to be able to do that.
Yeah, your friend base is significant here when you talk about Matt Lepay being here. You're visiting with Zach Showalter. Your connections, and I was talking earlier with Christine about this, who joined me out of the gate. That touchstone moment of when Blake's front and center with you, and your kids in general, all three of them front and center with you. But is it 3 years ago that Blake was here just weeks after
Yeah.
Surgery?
Yeah. He had surgery in May, and I think it was like 3 weeks ago he was there in front and center. And it's amazing when you look at brain surgery and what it is. But I think it's also, as parents, you learn a lot about yourself from your kids.
Yeah.
And you realize that none of what you think you know matters.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
Yeah.
We've got legends here. None of us are legends. And the beautiful thing about it is everyone here realizes that.
Yeah.
And says it's not about themselves. And but it is. Like I just think the journey you're on, you're always learning.
Yeah.
And you're always aware of it. And we're always going to be on that journey with Blake.
Yeah.
There's another family here that we've gotten really super close to. Their little girl Hazel. Her tumor is where she can't have surgery, so there's a different protocol.
Sure.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
We got to celebrate his 6th birthday. We got to.
Yeah.
He gets to come out and drive the car around a little bit.
Yeah.
He gets to do these things. We get to do these things.
Yeah.
Not every family gets to say that. So if we can buy more time, if we can buy more resources to be able to help families maneuver all of this, that ultimately is what this is about.
I want to let you go, Mingle, but I want you to go through this story one more time. We told the story, you told the story, but when I talk about the community of friendships that you built through the time and good people that are around you, walk us through that, how Steve Stricker actually got involved initially, but that goes through whether it's Greg Gard, Matt Lepay, but the connection, and you had not met Steve, right?
Correct, yeah.
But that connection helped you get where you needed to get from a medical care and coverage standpoint.
Yeah, it was one of those situations where insurance denied his first surgery because when I talk about the time side of it, Children's Hospital has a laser procedure that can go and burn the tumor. And where his tumor was, it was a great situation where we could do that. So we were all set with it, and then insurance decided they were going to deny the claim. And it's just because it was too new.
Yeah.
How do you break new? You do it.
Sure.
And us as parents made the decision like that's ideal for him. But anyways, the first person I called was Greg Gard, because Greg's dad obviously passed of brain cancer.
Yeah.
And I said, Coach, I need help. And Coach opened up the Rolodex that he had. And he gave me Steve's number, and I called Steve, and I just left a rambling voice message. It was like 4 minutes long. I still don't remember what I said.
Hey, by the way, anybody, if you're on Butchie's call list, you've had a rambling voice message from Butchie in
absolutely.
the past. So Stricker got one.
This thing is not, but this one was a rambling one of God knows what.
Sure.
But I do know I said, Steve, we've never met, but I just need help.
Yeah.
A dad that needs help. That's what it was. And so from that point, Steve called me right back and was able to maneuver a lot of his different angles to be able to get through the insurance company. We had to appeal it, a whole list.
Sure.
But we got through it all within a week, which is unbelievable. It just doesn't happen that way. So in general, we looked at it, and Steve really started the process. And that to me was I'm so thankful for what he's done. And then you see what he's doing with the AmFam and all that stuff now. And continues to give, continues to be a part of, continues to be a staple of finding ways to help kids be kids. And ultimately that's the goal.
Ryan, thank you for jumping over. So Matt's doing the work here. Butchie's probably getting a little bit more of the accolades, but Ferris is really the workload behind the operation. Is that a fair thing to say?
Mike, I don't know that your word's not mine. Your word's not mine. No, Brian does an awesome job for this event. I was just talking to somebody. I think this is my 10th year involved in it. I was doing it back when I was in school. Now, back in those days, it's a little bit different.
Sure.
It was more of a, hey, coming up, representing the school, but being able to stay on is really awesome.
And now it's begun. This is home for you. Is where you grew up. Went to school about, a mile down the road here. So I was talking to Brian about this being a touch point, obviously, with his family situation. But anybody that has had kids or is going to have kids, you can see what this an event like this means.
Yeah, absolutely. So them opening that Northeast Wisconsin branch, which was a couple of years back, really makes it closer to home because you see the people that we can help right here in this community. And now I'm a dad of two. I've got a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. We haven't had to rely on children's for any sort of services like that. But as a parent, when you don't have the health in your kids, you do anything to get it. And to be able to have it close to home, to be able to make a 15-minute trip instead of an hour and a half down to Milwaukee, all the major difference.
Matt, let me ask you about what you see with what Coach Gard is doing at Wisconsin. And by the way, can you imagine how you would have profited in the NIL era? I mean,
Mike, I think we're talking in terms of hundreds of dollars, not thousands.
But what they've done from a recruiting standpoint is really impressive because they had to do it kind of on their own. I'm not saying the university wasn't putting money in their direction, but not to the level that you need. And he and his staff had to go get it.
Oh my gosh. I would say the word would be the ability to adapt. And Coach Gard shows it more than anyone. I mean, you go to, dating back to the Bo Ryan years of this is the way we do it. We don't bend the knee at all. For Coach Gard to be able to adapt, to start looking at the international game, to start looking at transfers when previously it was, hey, you're going to come here for 4 years, you're going to sit, you're going to wait your time, you're going to make it happen when you're a junior or senior. To be able to adapt in an era where, win now is really the case. He's done a fantastic job. Awesome job.
And then there's guys like Zach Kinzinger is out here today. There's guys like Zach who he might be one of those guys. Don't know, but he might be one of those guys that comes in and is there for 5 years, right?
Absolutely. And I think those people are important to keep the culture, right? To be able to keep culture, to keep tradition, to keep that Wisconsin way intact. And then you bring in pieces like your whoever the lefty was from last year, Austin Rapp. You bring in those guys who can give you a pop, who can really come in and make an immediate difference. And then you guys got guys like Zach, like Isaac Gard from last year, even a guy who literally grew up in the program.
Right.
To be able to keep that same level of Wisconsin toughness, the tradition of Wisconsin, and keep things close to home.
Yeah. All good stuff. Obviously, it got quiet in here. That's because they're going to go out and do stuff. I'm sure you probably have stuff to do, so I'll let you go do it. Matt,
awesome. Sounds great.
Matt, thank you.
Thanks,
Matt
Mike.
Ferris joining us. He is one of the tournament chairs here.
Let me bring in TMJ4 Sports Director Carly Murata. There she is.
Hi.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you're good. We're good. Hey, thanks for doing this. I reached out to you last night, kind of out of the blue, and in part because I saw your sister at the children's outing Monday in Appleton at Butamore Golf Club, Brian Butch's hosted outing, and we had a good conversation. And then I thought, well, shoot, let me reach out. So thanks for saying yes.
I'm so happy to be here, and thank you so much for having me. I miss seeing you up in Madison.
Yeah. Well, thanks for jumping in. How's this been for you? You've been at TMJ since January, so you're a relative newbie in that role there.
Yeah.
But that's home. So how is it? I imagine you love being back around home where you grew up.
Mike, it's honestly a dream come true to be home. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, when I was driving back. Someone asked me a question about how I first got an internship at TMJ4 and stuff. So I was just kind of reflecting, and I was like, honestly, it's really, really cool to be home. And I feel like sometimes in this job, you're like, you just keep moving. You're like, when you're in Madison, you're kind of like, what's next? How do I get home? All the things. So I think yesterday I actually was taking a moment to reflect, and I was like, this is really cool that you made it back home. You're doing, what you dreamt of for so long. And yeah, it's been so great. Like you said, I started in January, and it's kind of been it's just so much new because I became a mom in August. So January, that day, I took him to daycare and started here at TMJ4. It was a wild day, but it's all been so good.
This is yours is an industry. I worked in it a lifetime ago for the first 10 years out of college. It is difficult to juggle family in it.
Yeah.
So Luca is 10 months old. So how does that process is not an easy one because you work an afternoon, evenings lifestyle, and big events require your attention. So how's that juggle early on going for you?
Yeah, thanks for asking. it's something so new. And I have so much respect for like all of these moms and dads in the industry. I didn't realize like you're just constantly like it's hard to, catch your breath, but it's also just like the best thing ever. But yeah, it's been good. I feel like my husband and I, my husband's name's Jake. We met in high school. We have just like figured it out. Like, I mean, as much as we can, like every day is something new, but just like being a team. And I got to work this Packers mandatory mini camp. Like, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's obviously nice to have family around, but just so much respect for so many people who have done it that I guess I didn't realize until you're in it. And it's, I come into work sometimes and I'm like, well, I haven't even brushed my hair yet. You know what I mean? So, but I'm proud of myself for, making it all work.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
Well, good for you. And congratulations both on getting back there, which is home. And that is so cool. I know that when I had, and I never worked in the Green Bay market, I grew up in Appleton, but when my radio show was carried in Appleton for the first time, it meant something because that was cool. That was where my family lives there. The people I went to high school that stayed there, so many friends and associates there. So when my show was on in that market, it is a full circle moment. It's coming home. It's a dream achieved. And that's really cool. So I'm so happy for you that you have that. Let me ask you about the Packers because the season begins tomorrow, figuratively, but it'll almost be literally, especially in your planning purposes of getting ready. It does begin in an instant. What does this season look like? This is the opinion side of it for the Packers. Where are they? They're kind of running it back. How critical is this season for what the Packers are and who they're going to be?
I feel like it's extremely critical, right? I feel like to me going into this season, like this is a Super Bowl contending team, especially with Tucker Kraft healthy and Micah Parsons healthy. So I feel like they've got to get to the NFC Championship game. And in my opinion, I feel like there's high expectations for this team. I think it's a lot of pressure, not only on Jordan Love, but Matt LaFleur too. They've been close, but they got to be able to finish and they've got to be able to get over that hump.
One of the things that in our industry that we don't relish the idea of is covering a situation like Josh Jacobs had. So what's your view on the coverage of that? And I think there was a little bit of an update maybe yesterday or today. I'm not even certain. I saw Matt Schneidman had something on it, but just in your world, how does that storyline get covered? How do you coordinate the non-football element to there is a real sports impact to this story?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting. Just seeing everybody come together for a story like that. I haven't really covered too much of that. I mean, thank goodness, obviously, stories like that in sports. I feel like I'm really proud of like our managers and everything because it's just a lot. Like obviously there's nothing, he hasn't been formally charged, all the things. So you just have to be really careful with your language and make sure that you're accurate in how you're reporting it. And so I think it's just really having a ton of eyes over everything. If I'm going to report on something with this, there's going to be 5 people that are going to look at it before it goes out.
And it's a news story. So, I mean, you have a great news staff. So you turn the news portion over to them and then you manage because it's also, and some people don't like this part of it, but it is very much a sports story. It's a news story first, but it has dramatic and tremendous impact on what the Packers do on the field. And that matters too. So you have to be sensitive to the importance of the legal aspects here, the personal aspects, but also then cover the sports side of what this story means to a team that we pay very close attention to.
Yeah, it's been interesting talking to the players too, in the locker room just about the situation, because I feel like they too, they're saying like, they've talked to Josh, but they're not saying obviously anything about their conversation. So they too are like towing this line of being careful of what they're saying and not saying. But I think it's been clear, they like really respect him as a person, I feel. And I don't know. I guess it's just interesting hearing like them talk about him, because they just really are kind of like, it seems like they all really, really like him as a guy, as a teammate. So that's kind of what's come across when talking to the players in the locker room.
Carly, how do you prepare in your role for whatever happens in the next, I think something happens in the next 10 days or so with Giannis.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about, Jimmy Haslam talked about having this settled before the draft. Well, the draft is now 13 days away. So at some point in this window, a lot of us think something's going to happen. How do you prepare to cover that? And what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a ton of preparation. It'll be the biggest sports story in a long time, here in Milwaukee, depending if they trade him, I think.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of preparation. We've been preparing for a long time, because you know how it's been. It's been rumors about this, since February, since before that, but really since that deadline, we've been prepared with like what we're going to do, what you're going to do on social is the biggest thing. And then different stories everyone's going to tackle, whether it's about his career or different angles, how he impacted Milwaukee, just all different things. But you definitely have to be prepared for when that happens. So I feel like, it's just kind of like a waiting game now, but like, I think everybody feels pretty good about what to do if he were to get traded, because he has meant so much to Milwaukee, to the fan base, to the state, that I feel like it's just, you really got to encompass all of that if he's no longer going to be a Milwaukee Buck.
Before I did, again, a lifetime ago, what you're doing now, I didn't understand these aspects. So a little pull back the curtain. I would assume you've already done somebody's produced a retrospective piece on what Giannis's career has been in Milwaukee, with the concept of saying if he is traded, when that happens, moments after that, the details of the trade come out, you're going to run a piece that is a long form piece about his career in Milwaukee, right? That's already done.
Right. And it's actually really, really chilling. Like I've watched it a couple of times and it brings like tears to my eyes. So, but yeah.
It is his story as it relates to Green Bay. I was talking to Jim Osarski at the Journal Sentinel about this for a potential piece, depending on the outcome. I equate what Giannis has been. It's hard to find the parallel, but a little bit of Favre, a little bit of Rodgers. You can go all the way back for people of a certain age to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You can see a young Jake Mizorowski kind of moving in this direction.
Right.
But these athletes and what Giannis meant to Milwaukee and to the Bucks organization and then the statewide fan base, it's sort of unparalleled in the Bucks history. I don't mean to just be a victim of the moment, but I think he is the seminal player in the Bucks franchise history.
He's got to be the most likable, superstar that we've had in a long time. I mean, if someone doesn't like Giannis, I'm like, really? Like, what? Please tell me why. Like, I need a reason. I feel like he's so looked up to. I think why he's so likable too is like he just offers like a great perspective. Like, we've seen like after they've lost games and he gets up there and he just offers his thoughts and his perspective. And I feel like he's just been a great role model too for younger kids. And so not only just what he's done on the court, which has just been so amazing, bringing the championship here and everything, but just like who he is as a person, I feel like is really special to have a superstar like that. And man, like I hope that the Bucks hang on to him. I'm not quite ready for that to end.
Did you gain a different perspective of how other parts of the state view the franchises, Packers, Brewers, Bucks in particular, by spending time in Madison? The Bucks are very much in Jimmy O and I had this conversation. The Bucks are very much Milwaukee's team with a state interest. The Brewers are the state's team that has a big Milwaukee influence, obviously. And the Packers are everyone, right?
Yeah.
So did you have that perspective before you worked in Madison, or did that help maybe for you to understand that a little bit better?
Well, I think what really helped is actually working in lacrosse first,
Oh, okay. Sure.
So
Yeah.
I think I kind of had that perspective twice almost, but even being in lacrosse, like I guess I was a little surprised like how much everyone loves the Brewers. Like I knew the Packers was like are the state team and I knew that, but like the Brewers, like I feel like that's everybody loves the
Sure.
Milwaukee
Yeah.
Brewers. But yeah, it's been interesting. I feel like maybe Bucks like a little bit more centered in Milwaukee, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, and I get the same perspective,
You do?
and it's hard for me because I've lived in Madison for a very long time.
Yeah.
With Wisconsin coverage, I mean, this logo means a lot to me.
Mhm.
But if you live in the Fox River Valley or you live in Eau Claire, if you didn't go to school here and you don't have a direct connection, UW means a little less. It really is. We're in this bubble in Madison where it's kind of front and center all the time. But in Milwaukee, it matters when it matters, like when they're really bad or really good. In between, it doesn't matter as much. Is that also a perspective that you come across? Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Especially when it comes to like the other sports outside of football and basketball, like volleyball, hockey, like it's like everything in Madison. And I want that to continue to grow like throughout the state, just because you know how it is, like going to those volleyball games, like going to those hockey games, like it's a blast. Like I remember coming home to my family and being like, you guys need to go up to a Wisconsin volleyball game. Like it's insane. Like it's one of the best like sporting events. It's just like these women are unbelievable. And then the atmosphere in that field house. So, but that's something that like other people don't really understand if you're not in Madison, but maybe as the sport grows, I know they're doing a ton of stuff in Milwaukee too, which is helpful, but I agree with you.
Yeah. My family's in Appleton and volleyball will matter when, they're going to the Final Four. And then for many of them, that's the first time they've seen that. And it's the same with men's and women's hockey. Unless you're like truly and fully in it. What has this Brewers story been for you this year? I mean, this is another time, even for those of us in the business, where we're surprised again how good they are. And I think the fan base is too. And that's so much fun. And you're front and center in covering.
Yeah. I love covering the Brewers. Like this has been, it's so much fun. I have to be honest. Like I didn't grow up the biggest baseball fan. Basketball was like everything to me. And then, I liked football and stuff, but I didn't grow up the biggest baseball fan. And I've just like absolutely loved covering the Brewers. I think and I was talking to Butch about this, but I love the clubhouse. Like I love the guys. They're so humble and genuine and so friendly to the media. I mean, it takes right after their manager as well. But I think this Brewers team, like they have their staples, they have their guys, and then it's just a credit to the front office, to Matt Arnold for continuing to hit on these trades. I mean, it's like remarkable. I feel like someone leaves like Caleb Durbin, you're like, what the heck? Like, what are you doing? And then of course, like Kyle Harrison, I mean, minus the other night, like, has been fabulous this season. So, I just think it's almost like we're not giving them enough credit for what they do for the Brewers.
You did a really cool story on Miz last week on the card stuff. Walk us through, for somebody that didn't see it, and you can see these online. They're available on demand, but walk us through that Miz with the kid and the cards last week.
Cool story. And I got to know Jacob Mizrowski a little bit more from this too, which was nice to kind of peel back a layer from him. But so this young boy from Wauwatosa and his dad, he was off of school. He's 7 years old, Friday before Memorial Day, that he really likes baseball cards. They have tons of binders of baseball cards at their house, and he loves the sport. So his dad took him to the card shop on Friday, and actually on the way, they have a ton of Jacob Mizrowski cards, and on the way, his dad was like, what if we see the Miz there? They kind of laughed about it, whatever. Then they're walking into Brewtown, and the dad's like, we see this 6'7" guy in there. It's Jacob Mizrowski inside the card store. They are like, they have their Miz shirts on, their Brewers gear on, which is also just like funny that they had Miz gear on heading in. But so they obviously just went up to him and said, hey, like, we're big fans, like, so great to see you. The dad said, if my son gets one of your cards, would you sign it for him? And he said, of course, but I have to buy the deck. So Miz ended up buying him a card deck. He ended up pulling his card from the deck and then signing it for him. And it wasn't just that. They had a whole conversation. Miz gave him some pitching advice, and it just sounded like they said he was in no rush and was just such a genuine guy. And I love that. They posted a picture of it in like a Facebook group for baseball cards.
Yeah.
And someone from our station is in that group. So they sent it right away. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a great story. So I ended up reaching out to them and then just going and hearing this story and talking to Miz about it too. It was just great to get both stories and both perspectives. And I thought it really came together. It was a really sweet story.
Carly, let's talk about a couple of career elements. If I had you submit, I've never met you, and you want to show me what it is you do. Is there a story that you've done where you would say, look at this. This story means a lot to me. This kind of defines what it is I do. Do you have a standout single story that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I would probably say I did a 5-year, it was the 5-year anniversary of when Howard Moore passed away.
Yeah.
And I talked to his son, who really hadn't talked much up until that point, and then Richard Griffin and a couple other of his friends. But I just sat down with them, talked to them about how far they've come in the 5 years, and especially Jarrell, that's his son, for anyone who doesn't know. And he just talked about what his grandparents have done and stuff for him. I would say that is a story, just because I feel like for me, I love covering the games, but there's so much else. And like that story for everybody, I feel like resonated with so many. It just breaks your heart, that story. And I knew that I wanted just to follow up, and I didn't want it to be sad. It was more of a, Jarrell's doing really well, and all these people that have helped them get to this point in 5 years. And I just thought that was an important story to tell. So I think that one really stands out to me as just like, I enjoy being able to talk to people. Like I enjoy listening, just hearing people's stories, and that one stands out.
Yeah. And the John Roach doc movie on that, Road at Night, which got theater release this last winter, is fantastic. For those who didn't see it, find a way to see it. It is, and it is not, there certainly are emotionally sad concepts to that, but it also celebrates the joy who Howard Moore is, and Jarrell, and the celebration of the family they had, but also what the storyline is as it rolls forward and the impact that they're having. And so John did a great job. And I love that that's the story that you would put at the forefront. You've also broken some barriers. And when people break barriers, they don't set out to break barriers, right? I don't think. It just happens, right? So you were the first female sports director in the Madison television market. And you're also the first in the Milwaukee TV market. You don't get there without influences. I would think that Sophia Minert and so many others have. Who are those people? Like, who have you leaned into, and who's helped you to be where you are today, outside of family? I mean, obviously, family is first.
I talk to a lot of young girls on the phone who are looking to do this, like just getting out of college and stuff, and making connections with people is the biggest thing. I know so many people say that, but it's just like, so Stephen and there's a lot of females that have helped me, but Stephen Watson told me this, like when I interned at WISN, he's like, honestly, just be a good person. Like everybody knows each other in this industry. And he's like, I know that you are a good person, but just be yourself, be a good person. And it'll get you a lot farther than you think it would. And it's like, it's so true, and I've just like, I've learned that over this whole course of my career so far. It's just like, it really has helped. Like, I feel like I've gotten to know so many people over the course of my career. Sophia is a big one. She sat down with me. We went to breakfast when I was like so young. I think I remember like showing her stuff from college, like thinking like, do you think I can like be with the Brewers? Like, you know, she's like, okay, I think we're going to start, you know, small, but
process.
Yeah, it's a process. Like, yeah, but no, she was so sweet. She went through it all with me. And I think people like that stand out because I want to be like that to all these other young girls coming out of high school that are hoping to be in this career, just like helping them out. She was huge. Stephanie Sutton from ISN. I interned with her. She just showed me that like to have fun with it. And she's a great example of a mom in this industry, juggling it all, but like somehow makes it all work. And she's funny. She even says like, sometimes I feel like I don't even know where my head is, like, but she just like gets everything in, and she does a fantastic job. So many people in this industry. I also want to say Tim Van Voren
isn't he the best? I'm such a fan.
Yeah,
we're contemporaries. We were doing this, like he stayed in it, but I didn't on the television side. But again, that goes back to your original point. It's not hard to be nice,
right?
But TVV goes a little over. I mean, he is one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet in any industry.
Ever. And he gave me the advice to stay curious. And I love that. I love that. Even when I'm even at any games, like I'm always thinking like, what are people curious about? And that's what he's like, what are you curious about? What are other people curious about? Just stay curious and you'll continue, doing well. It's like so simple sometimes. Like have fun, be a good person, stay curious. Those are things that just stay with me. But like I just named so many people in the Milwaukee market. And it's just like, I think that says a lot when you're surrounded by people that are cheering you on and rooting for you, even when you're going up against them. Like Tim, I just saw him at Packers. He's like, hey, you're doing a great job, like great stories and whatnot. Great. Stephanie will call me and be like, great story the other day. Like, so I feel definitely lucky to be, surrounded by such great people. And shout out Jocko too. He's obviously the best.
Yeah, he's everybody's best.
Yeah.
And boy, he had a good week last week. He played in the Pro-Am with Ben Crane, and then Ben Crane won the tournament.
I know.
So,
yeah. I love it.
So what is next? What are the mandatory minicamp in Green Bay? Obviously going on as we speak. Training camp begins in 6 weeks, I believe, in Green Bay. So we get into this, daily routine of which here after the Packers finish the mandatory minicamp, that the storyline is from the Packers kind of goes away a little bit for a while. Giannis front and center, Brewers stay front and center. Like, what does your world look like until Packers begin camp?
Yeah, it's this waiting game with Giannis. Whenever that shoe drops, we obviously have the NBA draft coming up here too. So a lot of like Bucks NBA coming up. But I think in between, camp and this Giannis story, it's fun because it's different storytelling. Like you get a chance to cover more of these high school athletes that deserve it, that are all competing at state in softball, baseball, soccer right now, to tell those kind of stories and just different unique stories that you don't get to tell throughout the year. Every day it's like you should come in with a story idea, pitch it to everybody, and then you see where it goes from there. But it's fun to be able to tell different stories than just being so busy like every single day.
Hey, I appreciate you spending time to do this morning. We talk about how busy life is. You your son and you're going to work. And so thanks for carving out some time to talk to me on this. I appreciate it. I hope our paths cross really soon and that we do this again not far down the road.
I would love it. No, I mean, I'm very busy, but when Mike Heller texts you, I'm like, absolutely. It's an honor. So seriously, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Chomping at the bit, worried about what I'm going to ask him about the game last night, so I don't put him in an awkward position. Vinny, how are you?
It's okay, Mike. It's part of the job. I'm doing well. You usually don't, but so I'm a little nervous for it. No, I'll be good. Yeah.
You know what last night was? I saw 68 pitches for Brandon Sproat after 6, and he's really in command. He's got everything going in a ballpark that the hitters have had a distinct advantage the entire series. And I just thought he should have. He's gone, I think, 9 straight outings that he went 75 or more pitches. So it wasn't as though he's on that threshold where they're saying, I said last night on Brew Daily, Vinny, if he's at 78 pitches after 6, even then I probably want him to go out there, but I understand it. If he's at 85, then I fully understand it. At 68, there was a decision made, and part of that was an emotional decision, right? That they want him to feel good because he's had some struggles. They wanted him to leave the game clean and feel good, and in theory, that backfired.
It's a delicate balance with a manager and what he decides to do with a starting pitcher in terms of feeling good. Because, yeah, this kid, I mean, going into the game, what do you have? A 6.17 ERA, right? Yeah. So you want him to have some success, and all of a sudden you're having him play on a place that's like, and this is no joke. I've heard a number of players talk about this in playing there in AAA. It's like playing on a parking lot on the moon. Okay. Yeah. And literally, so you're trying to get him to go out on a high note. 4 hits through 6, one earned run. So I get what you're saying, and I get what Murphy's saying too. And look, in hindsight, probably a mistake, right? So Chad Patrick comes in. It's not like he's at any kind of an advantage. I mean, it looked like maybe he would have been, especially the way he threw the ball in game 1 of the series. I mean, he kind of blew the doors off of the A's hitters despite playing on that parking lot on the moon. Yeah. So he was a hot hand. 21 and a third innings pitch, giving up just 1 earned run, and you thought that he was going to be able to get through that and then hand it over to McGill and Uribe and just kind of end the game and end with a series win. That would have been, I think, important because it is such a weird place to play. I listen. I'm with you, Mike, just because it is just 68 pitches, right? So I am with you on that because we've seen Brandon Sproat kind of have the wheels fall off at around 75 to 80 pitches in the past. These last 2 starts, he drew the short straw on this road trip, had to pitch twice, Coors, and then here. And so I think, having him have back-to-back quality starts, hopefully that can be an opportunity for him to go on a nice run.
Vinny, the offense didn't do their job either in a game where they certainly had opportunities to add on. The 3 runs was not enough. 3 runs feels like you had scratched out a single run in that environment last night, and I thought they had opportunities. It was interesting, the lineup decisions, because now I didn't look at the matchup. I didn't look at the splits for Garrett Mitchell, but you didn't play Garrett Mitchell a night after he had 3 hits, including 2 doubles that were over 110 miles per hour. A right-handed pitcher on the mound, and instead you put Bowers in left field, and that backfired, but I don't blame that. I mean, Bowers had a bad night. He's been great. And I love Sal Frelick, so I need to say that every time I'm critical of Sal, because I love Sal Frelick. But if I were going to make that lineup last night, and I were going to put Jake Bowers in one of the corner outfield positions, I'd have put him in right, kept Churio in left, and played Garrett Mitchell in center. And I get it. I'm criticizing the lineup, but I would have done it on the front end. I thought that was peculiar last night.
Yeah, it is, because I'll say this on that front. So Sal needs to get it going, right? And he's hitting 210 with an OPS of 610.
Yeah.
And so this is a place where you can get a guy going with results. That's what Pat Murphy, I think, is thinking.
Psychological, right? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like when we would go to play in Las Vegas, we would be begging to get in the lineup. When you had a day off, you felt like you were missing I missed out on hitting a homer today. And that's how it feels. And so I do think that was probably part of the calculus of Pat Murphy of getting Sal Frelick going. He's probably feeling the pressure too, Mike. Remember, they just signed Luis Lara.
Yeah.
Right. So he's probably feeling the pressure in AAA.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of it. Yep, you could probably point to a couple of things that for the reason why the Brewers didn't win, because they got out to a 3-0 lead and then just kind of squandered it. It was a missed opportunity. It definitely was. It was just even though they won game 1, that series just stunk. You just did not feel good about that series 100%. Just overall. Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, okay, so less critical from a Brewers standpoint. I understand Major League Baseball's desire to have this series. And now how about the 2 teams that play on the moon, the Rockies and the A's, will play a series this weekend in Vegas. They're both at least sort of familiar with the surroundings. But I thought Major League Baseball did a poor job of having that stadium ready. On the opening night, that rock-hard infield, you could see they poured a bunch of water in front of home plate and the infield dirt the last 2 nights to try and slow it down and to keep the big bounces. But I thought Major League Baseball, I get it, but that stadium isn't Major League Baseball game worthy.
It is not. And so people are probably thinking, okay, well, there's a major league team coming to Las Vegas, not next year, but the year after. Is it going to play like that? And the answer is no, because it's going to be a dome. So everything you hear, it's going to be climate controlled, and it's just not going to play like that. It's going to be one of 2 domes in Major League Baseball, Tropicana and Tampa being the other one, fully enclosed dome, not a retractable roof. So I think people can kind of quell their fears about that. I think it's going to be great for the game of baseball. It's supposed to be a phenomenal stadium. So I'm looking forward to that. I love the town of Las Vegas. I really do, for a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
And so that was, and they're going to play again next year at that ballpark. And so I'm just like, I don't think you need to gain, the buzz and the fandom around that city. They already know what's coming, and it's going to be a good thing for the game of baseball. They know what's coming. You do not have to play another series or 2 there next year. So I think this is a mistake. I totally agree with you. Even if they get the stadium ready, the wind is just going to be a factor. I scouted there. After I got done playing, went to Las Vegas to scout at that ballpark a bunch, and the wind was howling out every time. You'd see 8 home runs every game. And so it's not conducive to playing just baseball in general. And it's a mistake to have actual games that count be played there.
Did you see the picture I used for you on our Twitter post earlier today?
I did. Yeah.
With the Buffaloes?
Oryx Buffaloes. That was my 2013, my time in Japan. Yep.
You have all of those? Like all those playing baseball cards from each of your stops?
Yeah, cards and uniform and jerseys. Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll have to get you a Oryx Buffaloes jersey, Mike.
Sweet. yeah. All right. So Craig wanted to know, Mike, ask Vinny if he feels the young, talented Brewers pitchers can hold up long enough to get some of the veterans back from the IL. Well, some you're talking about Brandon Woodruff, and it sounds like he'll probably get a start next week on the homestand, not on the weekend part of it, but early next week when the Guardians come to town. Mm-hmm. And is there any good news to report on Priester? Do you think we'll see him this year? I mean,
that report of him in his outing in Arizona Complex League was not good. He threw less than 50% strikes, 4 wild pitches, 3 walks, something like that, 5 earned runs against that rookie level talent. That doesn't sound good. For some reason, he's having trouble feeling the baseball, throwing strikes. His delivery, it sounds like, talking to Chris Hook, its delivery is a little bit out of whack. But to me, that doesn't equate for just the amount and volume of wild pitches that we're seeing from him. I mean, hitting the bull, right? I mean, just throwing it back to the backstop continuously. There's a touch and feel issue there, and that apparently has something to do with the thoracic outlet syndrome piece of it. So there's nerves that run underneath the collarbone. Guys pinch that off. It's a common injury for pitchers, and then those nerves go all the way down to your fingertips, and apparently it's not coming back for him. For me, Mike, it's like, if this doesn't get any better, maybe in the next couple of outings for him, let's go ahead and have that surgery, perhaps.
Sure. To see if you can salvage 2027.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and to answer that question about the young starting pitchers, I think so. I think they can hold their own until Brandon Woodruff does come back. Coleman Crow, that was a bad start that he had against the Giants. I think he'll be fine. That was a bad matchup too, because the Giants, it seemed, the bats all of a sudden woke up in that last game of that series against the Brewers, and then they continued that on for whoever they played the following series. And then, I think Sprout is certainly coming into his own. Like I said, tough draw. The guy has got. If you line up all the starters in the big leagues just in terms of pure stuff, he's going to be right at the top of the list. Now, pitchability, command, all that other stuff that needs to go along with it, he'll get it. I do believe I'm a huge believer in that kid. So I think to have him have a couple of nice starts in a row and hopefully build off that for the remainder of this first half and then carry that into the second half, that's going to be a big deal for the Brewers starting pitchers. Gasser, to me, I think that one's a wild card for me. So if Gasser has another couple of outings where he's not getting the volume of innings and putting the team and giving the team a chance to win, I think they're going to have to take a look at that. There's a kid named his name is Tyson Harden in AAA, who's phenomenal. He's throwing the ball exceptionally well right now. They're going to have to take a long look at Tyson. In my opinion, he's not on the 40-man roster, so we'll see what happens in that regard. But they have more options for sure, and these young guys definitely need to step up.
So 40-man roster decisions, it brings us to the conversation of Luis Lara. The Brewers have done a great job of locking up young talent to long-term deals. They did it with Cooper Pratt earlier this spring. Haven't seen him at the big league level yet. Luis Lara has been fantastic. He is no joke. He is ready in so many ways. His AAA numbers this year. Now, keep in mind, he didn't have an at-bat at AAA a year ago. So this year, 58 games, 211 at-bats. So plate appearances, 256. There used to be a number that they wanted you to have before they thought about bringing you. That number is gone. He's got 71 hits. He's hitting old gen stat. He's hitting for a 336 average and a 940 OPS at AAA in his first time there. 7 home runs, 28 runs batted in. He's got 20 stolen bases. He's been caught 4 times. Vinny, those numbers dictate that he's ready to be given a shot. But here's the rub. He's an outfielder. Here's the theory. And part of this goes back to what you were talking about with Sal Frelick, trying to get him going. Frelick's numbers simply have not been good enough. He had 3 doubles in the month of May and no triples and no home runs. So he played the entire month and had 3 extra base hits. He's been better in June, but not extraordinarily better, just better. I mean, they might have a decision to make where they put Sal Frelick as their 4th outfielder. Lockridge is going to come back at some point. Perkins is going to be the odd man out. And you might have Luis Lara as your everyday right fielder, and that outfield would consist of Churio, Mitchell, and Lara, with Frelick being the 4th. Is that feasible, doable, possible?
It's possible. Yeah, this kid does seem like he's ready. The issue with this is, do we just totally see 2025 from Sal Frelick, age 25 season? Do we just kind of view that season? And I don't know the answer to this. I'm kind of like leaving this open for a discussion here. Do we just kind of view that season where he hit 288 with a 756 OPS and just kind of say that was an anomaly, that's never going to happen again, right? So that's and where he played just a phenomenal right field, outfield assist, has a great arm, gets rid of the baseball. And now you're looking at Luis Lara, who does the same thing, right? If not better, just because it's my understanding that he plays an exceptional center field. And so do you move Garrett Mitchell? If that's the case, you move Garrett Mitchell over to right field if he continues to swing it. So, I think it provides depth for sure. It's a tough call because, look, the easy answer would be bring up Lara. Sal Frelick's the odd man out. He's a bench guy. And Sal would be, I think, okay with that because he's such a team guy, but he would not. But at the same time, he's not going to be okay with it, right? He's a competitor. He wants to. This is his career. He wants to contribute. So it's a really tough call. The Brewers have put themselves in a little bit of an interesting spot, right? I mean, or do you explore a trade for, you'd be selling low on a Sal Frelick, right? If that's the case. So Lara does seem ready, though. I'm with you. It's an amazing transformation of what he's been able to do, because last year, he had a 700 OPS and now it's a 940 OPS. It's not necessarily just a bandbox. It's not a bandbox in Nashville.
Yeah.
It is a difficult place to hit in Biloxi. So, but there is certainly a big step that this kid has taken. It's been impressive to watch. Yeah,
we've been waiting. When we touched on this a week ago, we talked about Jet Williams, and there's a Super 2 equation there that will go away in a couple of days. So they have some decisions to make because Rengifo is still not getting it done. There are certain glimpses where he looks like, okay, maybe that bat is starting to play again, but then it goes away. And so they have decisions to make as it relates to Jet Williams, infield, outfield. And then last night they played Vaughn late in the game out of necessity off of a pinch hit because Contreras came in to pinch hit. Now if he's going to stay in the game, he's got to catch. That means Sanchez had to move first base. And so, but is that in play? Is Vaughn any meaningful innings at third base a possibility?
I watched him take ground balls. I've been watching him take ground balls at third base, even at shortstop for the last 2 years. Now he's never going to play shortstop, but he just gets over there just to feel the feet, feel the rhythm. You have to feel ground balls at first base and make the turn on the 3-6-3 double play all the time, and so you're just getting your feet underneath you. Now at third base it's extremely interesting because I asked him. I said because it looks smooth. Now, will he lack range? Yes, right? He's not the most fleet of foot. He's not explosive laterally. He's not going to be able to come in on balls that some guys are going to be able to make that play on coming in on balls, especially on bunts. So is he – but I'll say, like, the hands are soft. The arm is extremely, extremely accurate, right on the money every time. It's a smooth arm stroke. It is like he's got touch and feel for the baseball. So I asked him, I said, Andrew, I bet you were just a lights out defender in high school at shortstop. Am I wrong? And he's like, I actually was pretty good at short. In fact, I went to Cal. He actually was a pitcher. He was a two-way guy. He threw in the low 90s, believe it or not. And so he went to Cal, and he was actually going to play third every day at Cal, but there was a different guy, a different prospect. So they just moved him over to first base. In the fall, they decided you're going to be our first baseman for the next 3 years. Then you're going to get drafted really, really high. And that was the case. And so out of need, they didn't need him because of they had a guy. So now I told a couple of guys on the coaching staff, I said, that looks like he could be serviceable at least over at third. So I think it's in the discussion, and they agreed. Matty Erickson, says, the actions are there. The actions are there. So that is a very, very interesting discussion because, yes, you definitely need to get Jake Bauers and Andrew Vaughn in the lineup at the same time. They're both raking. How do you keep Andrew Vaughn out of the lineup? It's kind of crazy that's how deep that this lineup feels, but yet you still, I agree, you still have Luis Rengifo playing third base a lot. So
I wrote down what I think is the best potential Brewers lineup either later this month or beginning in July. And this is all before the trade deadline. I don't know what they're going to do with the trade deadline, but let's go pre-trade deadline here. Your outfield being Churio, Mitchell, and Luis Lara. Every day, 5 out of 7 days, whatever. Third base, I put Vaughn. Shortstop, I split Ortiz and Pratt. You don't lose anything with Pratt if you bring him up defensively,
right?
And you can't lose anything offensively. You just don't want to damage the player, right? We're going back to psyche, the psychological impact, and then obviously you'd have Bryce at second. And in that case, where Vaughn might play third base, then you got Bauers at first, and Yelich DHs and William behind the plate. That's this is a lineup that's already been really good in their production numbers. We worry about offensive production left side of the infield. This lineup, if Lara were to hit, Pratt's. I wonder on Pratt. Let me have you weigh in on those two being everyday regulars on a team that has the third best record in Major League Baseball. Do you mess with this? Would you do that?
I would do it. I would do it. At this point, look, I've been a Joey Ortiz believer and apologist, right, for the entirety of his Brewers tenure, and I still believe that he is a winning player. He really is. I just think Pratt is going to give you the same with the glove, the same production with the glove, and then you're going to just get a guy that, he's going to be your shortstop for the next 8 years. So let's go ahead and he's not going to do any worse than Joey, right? With the bat. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and I think defensively, you know this, I don't. So I'm going off of what you said. His ability to play the defense, like last night, my play of the game is the 6-4-3 double play when Sproat was in a little trouble. And the play that Ortiz makes to start that double play is extraordinary. It might go unnoticed. It doesn't make the box score, but he goes 2 steps to his right and had to go into the slide motion so he could field and then deliver, and he did, a perfect strike to Rang. But Pratt is capable of that level of defense. Not capable. It's the level of defense he delivers already, right?
Pratt can do the exact same thing with the glove. He won the minor league Gold Glove at shortstop a couple of years ago. So this kid can really pick it. I trust a guy named in the minor leagues. I trust a bunch of guys that have told me already that he is that level of a defender. But Mikey Guerrero has him in Biloxi right now. He's the manager, last year. But Mikey Guerrero is the manager of Biloxi right now. Mikey would rove around all the different spots in the minor leagues, and 100% he said this kid can absolutely pick it. So he is going to be able to give you that level of defense with the glove. And I wanted to kind of revisit the Vaughn thing.
Yeah.
So at third base, so now all of a sudden you have both Bowers and Vaughn at the corners in the infield, and then Pratt up the middle at short. Joey Ortiz now, I guess, potentially could be optioned to AAA as depth option, but for me, it would be more of a utility guy, come in late game, play defense.
How about that defensive replacement at the end for at third base, right?
At third base. Remember how well Joey Ortiz played his first year with the Brewers coming over from the Orioles at third base. I mean, he was, I believe he got some votes for Gold Glove over at third base. Or it was a finalist, maybe not, but his metrics were off the charts and he never made errors, right? So, what do you have to lose with Vaughn over there? Because look, quite frankly, Luis Rengifo has made some blunders over there at third base, and I don't think he's got great range. I mean, he's made some nice plays as well, but what do you got to lose with Vaughn over there at third base? You could potentially get you need his bat in the lineup. To me, it's non-negotiable. His bat is so valuable in the lineup because try to bring in a lefty against some of these hot left-handed hitters for the Brewers to combat that, and then all of a sudden you have Andrew Vaughn sitting there hitting over 500 against lefties this year. Yeah. So that's a weapon that needs to be in the lineup every day.
Well, last week we talked a little bit about the calendar on the Super 2 front. So if you're thinking, and the fan base certainly is, thinking about Jet Williams, Luis Lara, and Cooper Pratt, is there a calendar that we pay attention to? Are you waiting until the All-Star break? Are you doing something? What does Vinny, the GM assistant to Matt Arnold, do in this scenario? He's pretty good, by the way. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, man. It is a tough call because I would say if you need, because right now, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Well, then you're probably saying, well, they dropped last 2 games against the Giants, and then they went 4-2 on the road trip here. So, you're 500 in your last 8 games. Okay, but I just think the way that they're playing the game right now is at a very, very high level. So you want to
they're third highest in Major League Baseball in runs scored. I don't think the fan base gets that. Right. Like they go, we got to fix this offense.
Third and run differential as well overall in the season. So it's like, so it's like Dodgers, Braves, Brewers, and it's like, man, this team is playing at such a high level. Do you really want to really mess with this clubhouse?
Yeah.
I don't. It's a tough call. It is a very, very tough call. I would bring up Pratt. I really would at this point. I think he's swinging the bat well enough, and you're not going to lose anything with the defense. I would bring up Pratt and then kind of play it by ear. If you need a shot in the arm, you go ahead and bring up Jet. Jet's a dude. He is going to be a very good player. He reminds me of Alex Bregman. It's kind of just not only the stature, right? 5'7", although Bregman's listed at like 5'10". It's like, I don't think so, buddy. So you got to kind of play it. You got to play it carefully here. You don't want to mess too much with the clubhouse.
Yeah. All that's interesting. By the way, I know we're back a couple of nights, but that 15-14 game and the strike zone, the dude behind the plate, I threw my sheet away from that night.
You want to forget that game anyway, so why not throw your sheet away for sure?
He ranked 87th out of 91 umpires who have been behind the plate this year in percentage of challenges that were successful. In other words, the calls that he got wrong that were challenged, and there were 16 of them that night. There could have been 26. I mean, he missed a ton. How do hitters adjust in a night like that? You played enough where you get an umpire that. They weren't huge misses. I mean, to his credit, the misses were small misses. But how do hitters adjust when the zone is not what you need it to be?
Yeah, Clint Vondrack was behind the plate that night. You tell him, hey man, like let's make that adjustment. Like you literally have a conversation with him, but you do it in a very polite way. But at some point, it's like, come on, like make the adjustment. You're balling. He was, I believe it was mostly called balls, or am I incorrect in saying that? Or was he calling those strikes that were
the
balls
catcher
or
was,
other way
the
around?
Catcher was doing all of the challenges.
Yeah,
he was calling
so
balls. The catcher was overturning the strikes.
Right. So at some point as a catcher, you're like, set up like an inch that way, because clearly there's an issue,
right? Because Murph doesn't want their catcher to have to be responsible for cleaning up the umpire's constant mistakes. So he's barking at the home plate umpire because you only get 2 misses, behind, on the challenges. So he was barking to say, you got to be better. So the onus isn't on us.
A benefit of the ABS system is the fact that these umpires they should be trying to hone their craft. Right. And kind of make those adjustments. Like he 100% Clint Vondrack, I'm sure, because these guys are very prideful in how they and how serious they take their jobs. Yes, 100%. So I'm sure he's like, why was I missing that? So I'm sure it was a setup issue where he was kind of too far on one side of the plate. So he'll make that adjustment. Hopefully, if not, those guys, some are very stubborn. I will say, Mike. Some think, who was it? Angel Hernandez. He thought he was a good umpire. It's like, dude, you look at the tape. You were terrible. So those guys, they'll make the adjustment. But you don't want to have a guy behind the dish that is just totally, missing call after call after call, because you're going to miss some of those opportunities to challenge, especially with some of the relievers that are coming in late in the game that their stuff moves so much. It's like, I don't know if that sinker actually was a little bit off the plate. So you're going to be gun shy about doing it. And it's important that these calls aren't missed over and over.
So how about this weekend? And what's your role this weekend? You're doing some work this weekend for the home set against Philadelphia?
Yeah, I'm in the booth actually for the next 4 series. So looking forward to that. Yeah.
How about these matchups? You get Miz going on Friday, and then on Sunday you get Christopher Sanchez against Kyle Harrison. I mean, what a great weekend at the ballpark. You're going to see extraordinary pitching.
Yeah, this is going to be a great series. Thank goodness that the Brewers are going to miss Zach Wheeler, actually, because he is one of the best. So they're going to get Andrew Painter, who has not been throwing the ball well. That's going to be an important game just to win. Game 1 of the series, you got your one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, the Miz, going against Painter, guy that's very, very beatable. And so take that game 1. This is going to be, that game 3 is going to be must-see TV between Harrison, couple of, best lefties in all of baseball. Harrison against Sanchez. Sanchez is a very interesting guy because if you remember Matt Klentak, who is basically, the number 2 for Matt Arnold, or very, very high up in the front office. He was the guy that actually he was the general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies when the Phillies acquired Christopher Sanchez way back when he was an A-ball. So that was a great move by him. It's going to be a very, very good game. That guy is on fire right now with that long scoreless inning streak that was snapped. Not last start, but the start before that. Against the Padres. So he's good. He's got a very good changeup, but Harrison's going to be up to the task. The Brewers always play well at home. In this Philly series, in my opinion, is going to be the biggest series of the year, Mike, just because it's like, okay, you went 4-4 in your last 8 games. You just played that awful experience at Las Vegas.
Right.
So just go ahead, put that behind you, get back on track at home against one of the best. The Phillies, since they fired their manager, Rob Thompson, and they hired Don Mattingly full-time, they have the best record in baseball.
Yeah, they're really good.
So they're really, really a good ball club.
And then the Guardians are really good. And then you go to Atlanta.
Yep. And then you got Atlanta. So get off on the right foot here in this series against the Phillies. Take 2 out of 3 at least, and then move on.
I would feel bad if I didn't just rejoice a little bit and ask you, what do you see? I know you're not paying attention to the Cubs on a regular basis, but let me just fill in for our Cubs haters. The Cubs were 27-12, 15 games above 500 when they woke up on May 9th. So we're talking about a month and 2 days ago. They were 15 games above 500. Since then, they're now 34-34. They have won 7 and lost 22. They've won 7 and lost 22. How does that happen?
I don't know, but we can sit here and kind of laugh at it.
Have joy about it. Yeah,
we can, because it makes life a little bit easier for the Brewers sitting here in this really tough NL Central. It's still a tough NL Central. The Reds bullpen has been absolutely awful, but do not count them out. The Cubs, as awful as they've been, don't count them out, but it is an advantage. Brewers, the fact that this Cubs team is struggling so bad. How does it happen? We talked about this, that their lineup is kind of it's a little bit like constructed where if they're not all hot at the same time, they're not going to score runs. So that's kind of what's happening here. I thought the lineup construction, or the roster construction, I should say, with their starting rotation. Now, Cade Horton going down, that was a big blow to that team. But they don't have a lot of depth in their starting rotation. That's starting to peek its ugly head, and you're starting to see the effects of that. Jed Hoyer, I just don't think did a great job. I think Craig Counsell, look, I think he's a great manager. We saw him be a great manager for the Milwaukee Brewers. I think the roster construction from Jed Hoyer has been a mistake this last offseason. Edward Cabrera, I think, was the wrong choice to go ahead and push some chips in and get a frontline guy. He's not that. Doesn't have the mentality for it. But I think Craig's a good manager, and he's been dealt a bad hand. We'll see how good of a manager he really is, because he's going to be tested this year.
Yeah, because now it's psychological, and you got to work through those psychological moments. And then people there are going to criticize the heck out of Jed Hoyer, and I get it. But I wanted Alex Bregman. I didn't think it was feasible in this market for the money. But here's the cautionary tale. Big long-term money on older players is a risk, right? Listen, Rhys Hoskins was really good. I was so happy when he came to Milwaukee, and I thought he did a good job in Milwaukee. But cautionary older money on Bregman. And they didn't just do a deal, but Swanson, cautionary older money. That 32-plus age grouping, sometimes it just goes. It feels like as you watch, those hitters are kind of standing on the edge of the cliff. Some of them tumble down and never climb back up. Bregman, I think, will still hit, but he's not. And Swanson has not hit to the level that he's sitting down for a few days. I mean, it's kind of messy what's going on.
Yeah, it is. And Bregman, 674 OPS. Now, he used those Crawford boxes in Houston to hit home runs, pull side homers. When the wind's blowing in Wrigley, you're not hitting a homer. So that's going to affect you psychologically. I think that's what's happening with Bregman. He's also, I agree, he's getting older. He does not look as explosive. When I watched him and did those games in Wrigley, when the Brewers swept him at Wrigley. So 100%. Here's the thing that I kind of like to bring up, just about how the economics in baseball are working right now.
Yeah.
If you're the Milwaukee Brewers, you don't take those risks. Christian Yelich, I think, will be the last quote unquote risk that they will take under Matt Arnold's watch. They're not going to do it. Now, what they're going to do is continue to cycle through young players and trade them right before they hit free agency, get new players in the name of prospects. That's an advantage. We've talked about this, Mike. That's an advantage, actually, because Milwaukee, the fan base, the media, we all understand that this is how they have to do it. and it's an easy place to develop at the big league level for these young players.
Yeah.
Also, you can take 3 guys, 3 minor league free agents, or maybe a young prospect, throw them against the wall, see who sticks, and see who's going to emerge as a guy. They kind of did that with Bryce. I mean, I know he made the team, but he was sent down. Council sent him down to AAA to kind of figure things out. Bryce is now a guy that has developed at the big league level. It's an old school development path that Bryce Terang took.
Yeah.
You know, hitting balls the other way, bunting a lot,
Right.
using his legs, and now all of a sudden he's hitting bombs.
Yeah.
That is an old school path to development into becoming a superstar. Now
Okay,
they'll do that with a number of other guys. And let me just finish real quick. The other large market teams, they are pressured to sign guys like Alex Bregman in their 30s. That contract is going to look really ugly at the end. And so my point in saying this is the Brewers and large market teams they don't have the leash to develop younger players like that. They will get booed out of the stadium. You're seeing that with Caleb Durbin right now in Boston. So my point, it's kind of fair how it's set up.
Sure.
Even though it's not.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to see like this system, like a sterile economic system like it is in the NHL or the NBA, where everyone's got the same amount of money. And because I kind of don't want to see the Yankees play minor league free agent at third base. I kind of want them to sign that guy for $200 million and then have him be bad at the end of the deal. That's my soapbox. I'll get off it. I get the other points as far as what people are saying about the salary cap and having a more fair system. I get it. I totally get it. I just think let's think about this a little bit deeper before we dive into that pool.
Okay, so quick, if you can answer Tom's, and then I have one to finish on. I've kept you longer than we normally do today. I hope you're okay with that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Tom says, tough question, but do the Brewers need more pitching or a bat?
Well, here's the outside the box kind of answer to that. Let's say they got Tarek Skubal. Like, I don't think anyone would be like, oh, we got Tarek Skubal, but we really needed a bat. Right. I think with what we talked about with the lineup construction and where you could kind of take it, and you bring up a Cooper Pratt and a Luis Lara eventually who could really give a shot in the arm, and maybe all of a sudden one of those two guys starts to really swing the bat well, especially when the league hasn't figured those guys out yet. One time through, usually these guys, especially if they're hot at AAA, they come up and they stay hot. So, and then maybe an Andrew Vaughn type of a situation at third, we'll see. So I don't know if they need a bat just because of the production you're getting from Vaughn and Bowers. Yeah. I would be very interested to seeing them go and get, Skubal is a pipe dream for sure. But, maybe another bullpen arm, higher end guy out of the bullpen and just really solidify and shorten the game up. I don't know what name that is. Yeah. Or maybe a Tarek Skubal. We'll see. I'm sure they're in conversation.
I would think that Skubal has to cost you a couple, at least one, if not two of those names that you just mentioned. Lara, Pratt, Fisher, Made,
Fisher, Williams.
They're talking about those guys.
Yeah, Fisher, Williams, and an arm or something like that. A Bishop Letson or something probably gets it done. Let me finish
with this, Vinny, because and hopefully you can put this into words that the rest of us understand. Forever, analysts have talked about, the hitter's just not seeing the ball very well right now. Can you put that into terms that the average fan watching on their TV might understand when a hitter goes into a slump and they're not like Bryce Terang, and somebody thought he was like, my treadmill he thought that Terang wasn't seeing the ball very well. Maybe he wasn't, but in his last at bat, he against that pitcher, Elvis, he was sitting on fastball, and Elvis threw breaking balls, and it made Terang look bad. But I understood what Terang was doing. You're down a run, and he was going to sit dead red, and he didn't get one. So all three swings look bad. But if you're not seeing the ball well, put that into layman's terms.
Yeah, Jake Bowers wasn't seeing it well yesterday, right? And punched out 4 times. So what does it look like on TV when those guys aren't seeing the ball well? Look back at Jake Bowers at bats. It looks like they're totally lost off balance, swinging and missing by a foot. What does that mean as a hitter when you're not seeing it well? You're just not picking it up as early as you'd like. Ideally, and I never could do this, I could never really see the ball out of the hand. It's going too fast. I always picked it up as it was on its way. Now, but sometimes I felt like I saw it a little bit sooner, and I was in that good rhythm. A lot of it has to do with the timing of how you're taking your stride and your load. What is a load? It means when you're basically cocking your hands back, ready to hit, ready to fire. That has a lot to do. The timing of everything has a lot to do with, quote unquote, seeing the ball. If you're late, or even sometimes very rarely too early in getting your foot down, your front foot down, then it's going to look like you're not seeing the ball. Your eyes are actually not going to really pick up the ball because your brain's like, where is it? My body's not in a good position to hit. Where's the ball? That's kind of all that goes into it. But anytime you see a guy that's like late on the fastball and early on the breaking ball or secondary offerings, that's when you know a guy's just not picking it up at the right time. Also not seeing spin. That's a factor as well. Yeah. So those breaking balls, when you're not really picking up how it's spinning, and everything looks like a fastball of the hand, you're not picking it up.
Vinny, thank you. You know I love this. I appreciate you doing it. Look forward to having you on the call for the next two series. Hopefully I'll see you at the ballpark. Thanks for being here today. Hope the rest of the day is great. Look, I don't need this to be with just me. Look at these jabronis. Jabrozos is how I would refer to them lovingly. This is Courtney. CC is in on the show. Why? Because it rained too much for him to golf. He wasn't going to be here. You weren't going to be here.
I wasn't going to be here. Well, I golfed this morning.
It's nice.
Before the rain.
It's nice.
So
he had a chance to play more golf today with his own golf ball than I played all year. Although I played scrambles in back-to-back days, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And then, Treadmill is faking it, but really nice of him to fake it because the horrible hilly 100 this weekend is no effing joke, right?
Something like that. No, it's not. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
4 hours of, okay, this is all right. And then 3 hours of, I want to crawl into a corner and suck on my thumb. Well, Cece, thanks for being our backup. We're your backup plan tonight. That means a lot to us.
Everybody needs a side piece.
Yeah,
and Jeff, you can be mine anytime.
Usually we're your fluffer, but tonight we get to be second place. Right. That's great.
So Mike from Maryland, James, both wish us a good afternoon. Mike from James from a soggy Fox Valley. Yeah, I think we're all soggy right now. All right, so show number 2 for the day. Vinny Rottino was my partner this morning, and we talked about Brewers last night. And the first thing I got from CC when he came in, I got plenty to talk about from your show this morning. So what is the plenty?
Yeah, well,
let's start with this.
Yeah, a couple of things, right? Yeah. A couple of things. So one, I was saying to you earlier, I for a long time have questioned the value of managers in baseball, right?
Right.
And I was saying, I really, for a long time, I've kind of ranked it as maybe baseball, then hockey, then basketball, then football.
The importance of the coach?
Yeah, the importance of the coach, right. And a lot of questions about what baseball managers, really the job Murphy's doing, frankly, when you see what's going on the last couple of years in New York with the Mets, when you see what's happening in Chicago with Craig Counsell, who's widely regarded, as we all know, to be one of the really good managers in baseball. That's why you give a guy $8 million a year. It really just, that little, I guess, snapshot into just those three teams really start making you question, maybe I don't give the manager enough credit. And then so to your comments this morning about, maybe some of the decisions Murph made last night, what I really started thinking about is, I've always thought about, maybe a good manager gets you 9 and 10 wins. But I started thinking about, what do bad management decisions cost you? And maybe that's really the bigger equation is what do the mistakes cost you?
So I think it's a really interesting concept to talk about. Leave college out because college comes – the college coach is the GM. They got to go get the player, right? And you got to build a culture. And like Duke, it's unfair to equate Duke coaching to Wisconsin coaching,
for sure,
or Michigan State coaching to Minnesota coaching, because you have different. All right, so let's leave it at the pro level. Yeah. If you were going to rank football, baseball, hockey, and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of the coach, or in baseball's term, the manager.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of the head coach as it ranks from 1 to 4. For me, I put football 1 because I think that is a game of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can't win without players, but if all is equal, I think coaching, play calling, attitude, fervent energy that you bring, are they playing for you? Because you play 17 times.
Yep.
In baseball, you play 162. So I'll go number 1, football.
Okay.
I'll go number 2. Hockey is such a tough thing for me because I don't know it well enough to know how much that coach matters.
Yep.
So I'm going to take hockey out of my equation. I'll just go 1, 2, 3. I'll go football 1, baseball 2, basketball 3.
Okay.
I think basketball matters. But again, if you have a player-led team in the NBA, your best player is your coach.
Yeah.
They will follow. And so I think coaching matters to a lesser degree. Steve Kerr is a great coach with really good, talented teams. And I'll bring you back to baseball, by the way. I'm going to go a little old school on you. Joe Torre didn't win as a manager of the Cardinals or the Mets. And he won his ass off as a manager of the Yankees. He coached great players exceptionally well. I wonder if Pat Murphy would coach great players, if he would be as good with the Dodgers as he is with the Brewers.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'd say Phil Jackson coached great players really well. And there's somebody out there saying Sweet Bitch and I could have won 6 championships.
By the way, Sweet Bitch is in the building.
And
that's
he deserves a shout out.
Dave over there. I don't have a third camera, so you're not viewed. But it's nice of him to show up.
We'll get Dave to he can weigh in on hockey along with Court.
Yeah, I would say, in general, I would tell you I agree with it. And I will say this: you're 100% right. I do think different teams require different coaching styles. People talk a lot about Phil Jackson, to your point with the Bulls, and you had Jordan and Pippen, you didn't have to do anything. And then you listen to people go, you should try managing those personalities. So different things require different skill sets.
Because Collins couldn't win. I mean, Jordan needed that move, and that was the best move that the Bulls made.
And then Phil did it with Kobe and Shaq. Phil. Yeah. I mean, I'd put him. I'm not. He's above Torre in that.
He is the Joe Torre of that realm.
And
right, Torre won with great players. But Murphy is not winning with. Like, I don't know who's a Hall of Famer on the Brewers roster right now, but they won 97 times a year ago. They're on pace for 100 this year. I don't know if there's a Hall of Famer on. Miz. Good point. Yeah. 12 months.
Right. And I would say, to go back to that, like
5 games in, he was the starter of an all-star game. So who am I to?
Boy, I've got some buddies who have beefs about that. Who are Brewer fans. But anyhow,
tell them to shut off.
I would say this, and Sweet Bitch would know this better than I do since sitting in the room. But I would tell you, like, to put on hockey, like, people thought the Knights weren't going anywhere, and then Tortorella becomes the head coach, and all of this, and they're they're on the way to winning a Stanley Cup.
That stuff is crazy. So when you tell me, or somebody will say coaching doesn't matter, hockey is a great example. It's not my sport. Hockey is a great example where I think it does.
Yeah, I think to your
point.
I
also think that you would need a change of scenery. Like, oftentimes hockey coaches don't spend 8 years in one city.
Right. I think it matters a lot, though, with what you said earlier about Murph and what it matters, I think, a lot about football. I think hockey coaches probably more – football coaches get a lot of credit because they're X's and O's guys often.
Yeah.
And they're game managers. When you call timeouts, when you make this, when you make that. I do think hockey coaches are a lot about attitude and culture, probably a lot like baseball, a lot of similarity that way. And basketball is probably the mix of those things, right? There's probably some balance between X and O's things. To your point, and then I should let JV talk because I don't just run my mouth for an hour. But on coaches becoming or players becoming great coaches, there's a great story that Pat Riley tells about this. So he asked when he knew it was time to leave the Lakers and kind of move on. And he said that they're in a game and they all come, he calls timeout and they all come to the sideline and he calls a play. And they all go out on the court and they huddle up around Magic, and he called a different play. And they all ran what Magic called. And Pat Riley's like, that was a pretty good indicator that maybe now is the time to move on and go do something else.
Yeah.
Right. And so but I think to your point, good players and good teams kind of evolve that way.
So if you went 3 sports, you would go.
I would go
2, 3,
football.
Football 1.
I would if I won 3 sports.
Yep.
I think more and more, I used to always think I would go football, basketball, baseball, but I'm not so sure I haven't switched to football, baseball, basketball.
Okay.
Because I will tell you, I think
That's
one of the
where
things
I
we
went.
all learn in the NBA too is when you talk about players matter. I mean, players matter. I want to hear you say, but I have one more thought on the basketball thing then.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Oh,
He wants you to go, and then you got another thought.
I want to circle back.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I could say to bust up the direction you're headed. I think football definitely play calling. You watched, if you didn't even have to be a high school football coach, like really drilling into the X's, let alone a college coach, to see what Belichick was doing at times. Like he had his D-backs baiting quarterbacks. Like you don't do that to a pro quarterback. He did. So that's one example amongst 1,000 of that. What that
Jimmy
guy
Johnson is to me a great example of that too. He wanted both the collegiate where he got players, but he also, those players would have ran through every damn wall on the planet for him. Yeah. He had players that would play for him both at the college and pro level. Jimmy Johnson, even though it was short-lived, essentially in the NFL, he's one of the great coaches. And you both heard me say this. I think great coaches could coach a tennis team in the Davis Cup to win it. Yeah. They could coach a volleyball team both on the beach and indoors. Yep. They could, great coaches can coach anything. Yep. I think Kelly Sheffield would be great at whatever he coached. Yeah. I thought Bo Ryan could have coached if Wisconsin would have had a baseball team at a time, they'd have won the Big Ten in baseball. Because I just think he's that coach. Yeah. I think great coaches do that. So I do think coaching matters. I know players win games, but they win games for coaches.
Yeah. And the flip side, I will tell you is, and I think this would be an interesting conversation, is do good coaches affect teams more or do bad coaches affect teams more? Yeah. And I know we sort of kind of leave college out. I happen to think, people know me know this, that one of the worst coaching jobs ever happened at this university in college basketball because, frankly, I didn't know you could have 3 guys go to the NBA essentially and not make the NIT. So
Rutgers?
No, here.
That
happened here because if you recall, we had Tracy Webster and Rashard Griffith and Michael Finley on a basketball team and didn't get an NIT bid. Yeah. Which is like I've said this for years. I think you could actually just hand those guys a basketball and literally go back to your office and probably get an NIT bid.
Ace Bailey and Dylan.
I agree with that
Harper,
too. Right.
I went and read 4 paragraphs on that last night as I'm watching Harper dominate and would have dominated more had they let him. Some bad coaching at the end of the Spurs game last night.
Yep.
Johnson's done an amazing job getting a young team that far. But I'm like, how did you win? And like, well, there was lack of perimeter shooting. I didn't see that out of Harper last night. Did you see that out of Harper last night?
Let me give you another. Well, let me give you another current example. So a buddy of mine, Brian, is in the room, and he's a Phillies fan. So Philadelphia lets go. I mean, they cut ties.
Okay,
and I think they cut ties at the right time. That was not a bad manager that they let go.
Yep.
But his message was failing with this team. Yeah. So they bring in Don Mattingly. Mattingly is I hate the term, but it actually applies sometimes. He's a player's coach, and his message now, not a year ago, not 2 years ago, his message right now is resonating with the Phillies more than the manager that they fired. And in baseball and hockey, they do that.
Yep.
In football, you can't do it.
No.
You can't. Well, you can, but not during the season. It's not going to matter. But in baseball and in hockey, they do it during the season. And Tortorella makes it change. And in this case, at least for the short term, Philadelphia is much better with Don Mattingly than they were prior.
Right. Because I do think it matters offseason. I've actually heard Andy Reid talk about that, right? That people talk about Andy Reid, right, going from the Eagles and going to the Chiefs and the success they have. And I've heard Andy Reid talk about the fact that, like, really at some point in time, like, for whatever his message there got stale. Like the guys had heard it.
Yeah.
Some of the guys weren't buying in anymore. And it isn't like Andy Reid, clearly it's not like he forgot to coach because he goes to Kansas City and off we go.
Dominates.
But he needed to change the scenery. The team needed to change the scenery. So I do think it happens in all sports for sure. But I agree with you. You don't ever see it in football. You don't see a midseason. Well, we saw it here.
Yes.
In college, but you don't see it. You generally don't see it.
Paul Chris and Jimmy Leonard.
Yeah, you generally don't see it, though. It's very rare.
And that they were better after the move.
They were. absolutely.
And I think
work.
they were good enough for Jimmy to get the job, but it didn't
Where did
work.
they lose?
Work that way.
You know, if you look, let's look at coaching attributes that matter, both to your point, Cord, on it can matter to the downside or it can matter to the upsides. Team culture matters, right? And Murph's got that. X's and O's matters. I think this is true of coaches and managers of businesses and leaders of the world. I think you have to be able to manage every single player, every single person, not the way they want to be managed, but the way that is going to get the most out of them.
Yeah.
This is something my new best friend, Vinny, and I talked about extensively when I had the show to myself, and it was so much better.
Is he here? I think he thinks Vinny's watching us.
And that's, Vinny will say that as
Vinny.
Yeah.
Latino?
All right, enough.
Sure.
That's what Vinny said. Murph's real magic is getting the most out of every guy. And you before we went live, I love what you said. I know you're taking a guess, but I believe it's an educated guess. When he goes to see Patrick on the mound, and he expected him to be a bulldog because that's what he fucking is, and he wasn't ready. That showed up at least in how he executed. For Murph, I hope he said it. But Murph can't say that to he would never say that to Miz.
Yeah.
He can only say that. And by the way, he can say, you let me down tonight, kind of. And he didn't. And if he said it like this, you were a puppy instead of a bulldog, that's brilliant because he's complimenting him and saying, this is what we've come to expect out of you. You're a badass.
Yeah.
Well, and they already pulled him from the starting rotation because he wasn't what Murph wanted him to be as a starter.
Yeah.
He had a different personality. And as a reliever, he's been great because he just goes, I'm better than you, and I'm going to show you I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And he's a fighter. Out of the bullpen, he wasn't a fighter when he started. So just to share with our viewers and our listeners right now, what I was saying is that they showed a shot of Murphy in the dugout before he went out to go get Chad Patrick. And I think there were two things that were evident to me. It's a guess. Murphy was pissed off that he took Sproat out of the game. They made the decision from a psychological standpoint to try and have Sproat leave on a positive note because his ERA was close to 6, and he pitched a hell of a game last night in a bad environment. And if you leave him out there for one more inning and he gives up what Patrick did in the 7th, he might be defeated.
Yeah.
So that's why they made the move. I thought it was wrong, but I understood the psychology behind it. So when they showed Murph pissed off, like he was fired up before he went and got Patrick, I think he was pissed off that he made the decision. And then he was pissed off because Patrick, to your point, didn't pitch like the bulldog he is. He pitched like a puppy dog. He gave up a homer, a single, and a homer in a ballpark that they shouldn't play Major League Baseball games in.
Shouldn't play anything.
Shouldn't.
I have a question with that, but I will ask one thing on the Murphy thing so I got a good buddy, my buddy Ben, if he's listening. Sweet bitch knows Ben. Ben
a lot of Bens going on tonight.
Ben played in the Cubs organization, so he's got a lot. But he's had some in his time. He's run across Murph, and what he said to me a while back is managers are like Murph are great until they aren't.
Sure. Yeah.
And so do you know what I'm saying? So
it's a great point because I think Pat Murphy, whose only other managerial experience in the game, in the Major League game, was interim in San Diego. This is it. And I think Cubs have arrived in the house. That's such a terrible look. I mean, honestly, Jovan's, it's like he's going to take this personally. Jovan's my pal. Jovan walks in because he's one of those rare, messed up dudes that is a Packers and Cubs fan. So he walks in wearing his Packers shirt, which is great, and a Cubs hat. And it's embarrassing to wear that hat today as they are a 500 baseball team. Anyway, where was I?
Murphy, and he's good until he isn't.
Murphy, I think, has a short shelf life. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know his exact age. I don't know how old Murphy is. Somebody in
67.
You're thinking, is that a guess or
That's a guess.
That's a good guess.
I think it's within the realm
I think I've looked it up.
Oh, you have? You think that's
67.
where we are? Oh, look at Herb Brooks.
Herb Brooks. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
He's not. He's dead.
I'm just saying for hockey.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Win that game.
Well,
Yeah.
and let me touch on that in a second.
Yeah.
Murphy, I think, is a 4-year window in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I think he'll walk.
Oh, really?
He's got a chance this year. Like, if you were voting right now, would he win the 3rd straight National League Manager of the Year?
Yeah.
Well, how couldn't he?
Well, Atlanta.
Yeah. I suppose.
Pure wins and dominant wins.
Yeah.
But I think
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to Herb Brooks in a moment.
Yeah.
What's curious, you talked about a player's coach in Mattingly. All styles of coaching can and do eventually. Mike Tomlin is an exceptional Hall of Fame coach.
Yep.
I think Mike could have won again. I think the organization, and he sort of burned out on each other. Not the players. I don't think the players weren't playing for him.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of if there were some front office mistakes, there was some bad luck. Look at what Pickens did when he left that organization. But we talked about, look at the basketball coaches at Wisconsin, 3 straight coaches that all are pretty tough. Bet the first 2 for sure, on their players. Like that style, Sam Decker on Twitter is like, what was your favorite, when he was asked, what was your favorite thing that coach used to say to you? Anytime we got a and one and we didn't, get 3 out of that. I mean, you were getting yelled at for 40 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Deckers sure was.
Yeah.
And then they also got compared to his Platteville teams all the time.
Yeah.
My teams at Platteville never did this.
Yeah. Well, so you can.
That's a compliment.
That's a compliment.
Bo Ryan's Platteville teams were more favored by him than his Wisconsin teams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had a couple undefeated seasons. Yeah, he's pretty good. All right, Herb Brooks, just for a moment. If you watch the docs, his players never, he played for him, had no relationship with him, 0. But typically when you're done, then you have a relationship. Herb didn't live, he lived 20 years after the Olympics. I don't know exactly when, 80 to, I don't know what year he died. All of his players in the latest doc said, that's what we regret the most. We never had a relationship with him after.
Yeah.
He was that cold.
Yeah.
But he played them so psychologically that they bonded to get him. We'll show him. But there's a brilliance in what he did. But it comes at a cost, right?
Yeah.
None of those players got to know the man that they won a gold medal for against all odds. And I think that's a unique scenario, too.
You think Bobby Knight was kind of that way?
Yeah, but guys,
I bet guys got to know him after.
Players loved Bobby Knight after they played for him.
Yeah.
Like Isaiah Thomas would run, Dan Dockich, all these guys rave about Bobby.
Yeah.
Other than the ones who got run, who got run from the pro. Other than the one who got hit in practice.
Right.
Choked out.
Choked out. But
choked out. Yes.
But I do wonder if early on when you got to Indiana, if it was kind of that same vibe, it was kind of us against coach, because he kind of has that vibe, right?
So I'm a little bit older than both of you, maybe a lot of it, whatever. I'm older. But I always said early in my years of radio, when I got to share opinions, I said, I would have loved to have played for Bobby Knight. Mm-hmm. Like, he was the type of coach that motivated me because I always wanted to prove somebody wrong and to make that guy happy. And I think coaches why did Andy Reid not win in Philadelphia?
He did once,
well,
right?
He did, but not a Super Bowl.
No.
Why didn't he get over the top? Like, for me, it's a simple equation.
Right. Patrick
Mahomes was better than the quarterback he had in Philadelphia.
Better than Donovan McNabb.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's to your point. Like, players matter. And, I always steer it back to Wisconsin football. We don't have to go that direction, but to your point.
Well,
but my cousin, our good friend Aaron, talks about this all the time. He always talks about how coaches have to elevate players. And I agree with that. Coaches do. But you only elevate so far. And which again, is kind of the magic of what Murph does, because I feel like they punch further above their weight class than other teams. But to your point, like, I don't think it's that Andy Reid didn't elevate, but at some point in time, every player, every athlete has a ceiling, right? And the reality is Donovan McNabb's ceiling is a lot lower than Patrick Mahomes' ceiling. And in fairness to that, surrounding cast matters in football. Yeah. So, I'd have to go. I'm not a big enough Eagles fan to go back and nuts and bolts it, but my guess is he did a great job coaching that team. It's just eventually you hit your ceiling. And let's just be honest, so far, no offense to Murphy, the Brewers were all very excited. They've been wildly successful. They may have a ceiling, and the ceiling might be, winning the Central because Cubs are miserable, and then first or second round exit in the playoffs. That might be the ceiling.
Were you talking to Yo when you said the Cubs?
I was just looking around to see if he was listening. Cubs are miserable.
He's not.
Yeah, no. Cubs are miserable. No. Okay.
So I had this conversation with Vinny this morning.
Yeah.
Your buddy.
Jeff's buddy.
Your best friend.
Jeff's buddy, Vinny Rattino.
Wait, what is that?
It's calling.
You want to call him? You want to calling you? I'm going to sneeze, so somebody talk.
You're going to sneeze? No, there it was.
There it was.
All right, I'll talk.
Okay, all right.
Thanks for sneezing that way.
Yeah.
I sneezed. It's Courtney.
Varsity. I don't think
he's got a big immunity system going on.
Potosi varsity.
Give him another varsity.
Thank you.
So there's a play about the Brewers going forward about Luis Lara being your right fielder.
Mm-hmm. I have questions about this.
And Cooper Pratt being your shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
And Jet Williams being your third baseman, or Andrew Vaughn. All right, here's my favorite scenario that could play itself out.
Okay. Thank you.
I would, and I say this. I'm gonna switch cameras because I want to do this into this camera. I love Sal Frelick.
Yep. We all do.
Okay.
You know why you love Sal Frelick?
I lost camera too. I lost camera.
Oh, here, let me move my beer. You know why I think you love Sal Frelick? Because I think it's why I love Sal Frelick. And I might be wrong on this. When I see Sal Frelick play, it's a little bit like if only I had talent.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
No, because here's the thing.
I get it.
You're watching the A's last night and the Nick Kurtz guy's up there?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. Like, like,
dude,
not gonna happen, right? But you watch Sal out there and you think to yourself, man, maybe if I just worked a little harder when I was right? Like, that's how Sal comes across. I'm not saying Sal doesn't have a ton of talent, but that's how he comes across to a fan, right?
He is
He's got a lot of fast
He is a
twitch.
1950s Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
I don't know. This now there's people are going to say, well, you don't love Sal Frelick. Look what you just said. I don't know if he's in the league 2 years from now.
Sure.
Luis Lara has an OPS AAA. He's played 58 games. He has an OPS above 900.
Yep.
He's hitting 326. That's an old gen stat. That's called batting average.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. But his OPS is above 900. Care about that?
People care. Mm-hmm.
He's a great outfielder. So is Sal Frelick, who's a Gold Glover. He steals bases.
Mm-hmm.
The Brewers' best lineup, if they could put it on and they can, if they want to, put it on the field next week against the Cleveland Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Their best lineup would be Churio in left,
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell in center,
Mm-hmm.
Lara in right, Vaughn at third base,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ortiz, Hap, Pratt. Pratt, Hap sucks, by the way. Pratt at short.
Yep.
Terang at second, and then either Vaughn or Bowers at first, depending on how you're working that. Contreras behind the plate. That's a team that could win in October too. They could win now.
We think.
Because I do, and here's what I think. Because in Game 1 in October, you're throwing Miz, and in Game 2 in October, you're throwing Harrison, and in Game 3 in October,
You're throwing Woody.
you're throwing somebody that's not on the roster today.
Exactly. Well,
Because you're going to make a trade at the deadline, and it's not
really
for Tarek
shooting
Skubal. I don't think it is, because some of the names that we talk about are going away.
Yeah.
Jesus Made, Luis Pena, Andrew Fisher. There are others at the minor league level. In order to get a guy like Skubal for 3 months, he's not CC Sabathia.
No.
In order to get him for 3 months, because you're not keeping him next year, if there is a next year, two of those guys go away. And I'm not comfortable with that, because for the Brewers to win in 2029 and 2030, then you have to have Made and Luis Pena and Andrew Fisher as part of who you are. That's why, and that is what makes Matt Arnold so good in Milwaukee, is that he gets it. He came from Tampa's system. They got it. They didn't win in October. There's the rub.
So questions about that. One, do you think that the pending lockout changes how any of the teams or the general managers view this year?
No, because they still have an owner.
Okay.
So I think
I only asked because obviously, like, you know, if you wash a 27 season, and let's say it's just a wash,
God, would that suck?
It would suck. But I'm just saying, like, if that happens, like if you're the Brewers and you have some of this young talent, does it make you slightly more motivated to win now because, right, you've got another year to kind of replenish, rebuild? I don't know. I'm just.
It seems like they're. I would guess maybe it would be the candidate. I would guess their answer to that question would be we're in the moment right now. We're thinking about. I mean, we're obviously thinking about the next 6-7 years because we've signed Churio, Cooper Pratt, and Luis Lara. By the way, that's a question I want to ask, but I want to back up 1 second because I think I know where you were. I don't think you finished your thought. You talked about it this morning, and I get your thoughts around. I believe this gives us the best chance to win in October, but that's the upside. We're getting more talent on the field.
Yeah.
The downside is, does the dugout get fucked up? Does the team call? I mean, that's pretty drastic.
Frelick is a significant piece there. Frelick is, I think, a popular guy with his teammates because he'll do everything. He will run through. Who is the dude that died that allowed Roy Hobbs to play in the natural?
Oh,
you know, is it Bailey? Something Bailey ran through the right field wall and died.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Sal Frelick would run through the right field wall
for sure
and die.
Well, he wouldn't die.
He might though.
He'd now just limp his way back to home.
And then
just
die,
limp his way back,
and then die before the next game.
Right. Correct.
So I think to that point, I would not release or trade Frelick.
Right.
He'd be my fourth outfielder.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which means he's going to play.
Yeah.
It means he's going to play.
Yeah.
He might play for Mitchell. The problem is left. I want Mitchell over Frelick in any left scenario.
Lockridge coming back to
Lockridge is going to come back.
Yeah.
But Rengifo is the guy that could go away, right?
Rengifo goes away. Nobody notices.
Nobody notices if he leaves.
Yeah. And by the way, great defense. He's playing amazing defense, but no one on the team. That's not going to shake up the team.
What? It's an overstatement. I get it. He's playing good defense.
Maybe
he made 2 great plays last week. He's not a great defender. Here's the thing, and Vinny brought your buddy Vinny. He call you
best friend.
Vinny brought this up this morning. Said, and I've mentioned this, that
if he's your best friend, you should expand.
No, Vinny should expand.
Well, Vinny should expand.
You got that wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. I would say, well, you need more close people in your life. That's all.
AAA defense is no different than Major League defense. The problem from AAA to Major League is trying to hit.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Cooper Pratt can play. If there was a league above Major League Baseball, he could play tomorrow and doesn't have it defensively.
Yep.
Oh, what's happening now?
Ooh, a note from the producer.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay. Couple of things to make note of is Princess Kari just walked over. Have I shared that is the nickname that we sometimes use? She leave the bar area.
How does the princess?
I call her my captain because she is the leader, but Kari just walked over with a note. So our friends Craig with a K and Diana with 1 N and not with 2 N's and an E. Never. You want to get smacked? Call Diana Diane.
Yeah.
Don't do it. You don't know her, but if you did that, it's over. I take her over you in a fight any day.
I will heed your advice.
Military background.
You've never steered me wrong.
Dirty Diane. The song was Dirty Diane.
Yeah.
It was.
That's she can live up to that realm too. She's going to, at least I think, be on the show before we're all said and done.
Oh, perfect.
Talking about outfits.
Oh,
Kits, costumes.
Yeah.
Like for the World Cup, like kits?
Uniforms.
Sports fashion.
Oh, I love it. All right, great.
She doesn't like the long pants on baseball players.
Yeah, likes the
certain
syrups.
certain color combos aren't working for her.
She's not wrong.
I'll be interested on her take then, because you know what I don't like is the guys who tuck the pant under
The back
the heel.
spike.
Yeah, got a real problem with that.
Uribe does it.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody else. Uribe also puts somewhere between 8 and 10 pounds of chaw in his right lip. Which how do you pitch with that?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't
It's
get it.
front left, right?
Front left, correct.
yeah, he's no Lenny Dykstra. Where's our Philly fan? Somebody
Sanchez does too.
Well,
Lenny Dykstra fan?
Lenny
Gotta be.
wasn't Lenny. Lenny was big leaf,
A
right?
big full leaf, and there was a story.
And they don't do that anymore because baseball's not supposed to have that.
Right, but there was a
Uribe's got-
story that he chewed so much with the leaf that the Phillies had to buy a special machine to clean the turf in center field
Oh.
because he was just staining it, and
Okay,
baseball
yeah.
didn't like how it looked on TV.
Well,
Sounds true.
Were you ever in
It's
college?
gotta be.
Were you ever in college and had a spittoon tip over on your carpet in the living room?
I was in college and chewed leaf, so I.
So you had a spittoon that tipped over?
I mean, things happen.
Yeah,
right.
not on purpose.
Yeah, you got it.
So Diana is going to join us before we're done. She might need a glass or 3 of wine before that happens. Also, any cash tips for those in-house or who will be in-house later, or if you'd like to make a donation, we are raising money tonight that we will donate to Badger Honor Flight, right? So we're a big fan of what they do. We support anything and everything military, and Badger Honor Flight, one of the great treats that both Kari and I have ever had was to be a guardian on an honor flight. I've gotten to do it twice. Kari went with on the last one that we did a year ago, and she still talks about the experience because it was special.
I was just at Truax, maybe. Well, I was going to say 2 weeks ago, but time blurs, so it's probably a month ago.
Yeah.
To welcome my uncle back, who went with my cousin, and I asked him how it was, and the only word he gave me was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I bet your
Truly
cousin will
amazing.
think of that as one of the great
So, yeah.
adult days of his life.
So it was amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
humbling
Yep.
without question. So when we're talking about the Brewers and roster decisions, to your point about the psychology of the game, to not F up the clubhouse like they did when they traded their closer. Why am I spacing?
Hader?
Yeah, when they traded Josh Hader, I think that David Stearns didn't take into account the clubhouse and the impact.
Yeah.
Because I said to Kuhn after they did it, Kuhn goes, "This is going to mess them up." I said, they got to toughen up if this is the mess up moment.
Yeah.
And I underestimated his impact on the clubhouse. The GM has to get through the clubhouse. He has to understand what the relationships are.
Yeah.
So to that point, Frelick is super important, I think,
Is Joey
to what they do. I don't know that Joey Ortiz is
as
quite
important.
the same,
Yeah.
but I also don't think you have to move Joey.
No, you keep him.
So you keep him, and then guess what? If you had Andrew Vaughn at third base in the 8th inning, you lead 3-2. Guess who your third baseman is in the 8th and 9th inning?
So you got Ortiz, Pratt, and
Oh my gosh!
yeah.
Your defensive
And Terang.
infield is the best in baseball.
You know what is interesting, and you'd know a lot more about this than me because not a baseball player or baseball guy. I do wonder, like, I understand Cooper Pratt, they say he's got a great glove.
Yeah.
But it's very clear to me as a more casual baseball fan that the time together, Ortiz and Terang definitely have, like, I mean, they know, right, kind of how each guy moves and how where they like the ball. And I understand Cooper Pratt's got a great glove, but I do wonder when you talk about culture and just changing things, like mid-season, what is the defensive effect on that type of change? Now, we all assume you're going to get better offensively. Which is going to offset some of that, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think the move to Pratt would be, we think we can get better offensively. Pratt's never seen a single pitch in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
So here's the Pratt scenario for me as it plays out.
Okay.
He comes up, he might have a hot first week, and you're going, "Oh my God, this dude."
Yep.
But then the league looks at him and says, "Okay, he's hitting everybody's fastball."
Yeah.
But he's not hitting anybody's slider.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're going to feed it. The league is great at finding out your weakness and then exploiting it until you adjust back.
Yep.
And
So does that mean you got to bring him
Pratt is-
up sooner rather than later?
I think, but
so he can adjust to
because
adjust to
Ortiz
stay
has
down.
been fairly anemic, I'm going to be nice about it. Pretty anemic offensively. You can't hardly be worse. The risk is the psychology to Cooper Pratt about, oh my God, I can't hit here.
Yeah, right.
I'm not good enough to hit at this level.
Well, don't you think that's why they're holding him? I mean, that's a known. Used to be what you wanted 1,000 at bats in the minors. Now it can be 500 to 600. The numbers come down. I don't know if that's true. I'm guessing that's because there's other ways hitters can simulate maybe hitting at the next level. But I don't think they're holding Pratt back because they're worried about messing up the the team culture.
No, I think I honestly
probably don't think he's ready.
There were two things. One, there's a Super 2 date, which I think is 2 days from now. Okay. You keep another year of club control without bigger money.
Yep.
And I think that date, when I talked to your friend Vinny last week about this, about Luis Lara, he said it's a Super 2 issue there because if they bring him up at that point, it was 9 days. So I'm thinking Saturday is the day on the calendar. If you don't bring him up before that Super 2 cutoff, you get another full season of club control at your dollar, even if he's pre-arb.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right? So you get arbitration money in play, but not full contract money.
But does it matter with Lara and Pratt since they've already...
I think it matters with Lara because that's where the original concept was in play.
Gotcha.
I don't know about
they've signed
Pratt.
these new contracts.
Pratt's on the 40.
He's on the 40, yeah.
But Lara is not, at least that I don't believe he is. I don't
check that.
Yeah, I might have. Somebody will check it. You can text us.
Yep.
Isn't it? Okay. Yeah, 500 at bats is what Mike says. But yeah, I think you're.
But that was kind of some of the concern about bringing Miz up too soon. It's no different with pitchers, right? There was concern, I think, with Miz that they didn't want. I mean, they kind of knew earlier than when we saw Miz last year, right? But they were holding back. They didn't want him to go out there and get shelled.
Okay.
Right.
Hard.
Okay, hard electric. Okay, I have a question though before you do that.
Okay, do it. Yeah.
Really quick.
Yeah.
And I know this thing's. I'm going to beat the horse just a little more on the field in Vegas.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, but it's what you said this morning, and you know this from being a golf guy. They have the event at TPC. They have the event at the University Ridge. They have a U.S. Open at Erin Hill. Doesn't matter where the PGA goes to play, right? Who's in charge of course conditions as soon as they start getting ready for
the PGA or the USGA for majors?
Yeah. Don't you find it shocking that Major League Baseball allowed players?
That's why I had the issue.
Right. Because this whole thing about
I said my whole issue 2 nights ago, I said the problem in this series is not you can't affect the wind.
No.
You can't affect the altitude.
No.
The dimensions are fine.
Right.
My biggest issue is 2 things. One, and I don't know how this works, but their use of the humidor on the baseballs matters.
Yep. They do it in Colorado.
They didn't, for whatever reason, if they were doing it, it wasn't working.
Yep.
And number 2, that infield on the opening game of the series.
Yeah.
When you see Ortiz and Terang on difficult but not superstar plays getting eaten up by ground balls,
well,
then turn the field
How
over.
about guys chopping baseballs in front of home plate? That then, if you weren't watching when it made contact, looks like a soft liner to left.
And in game 2, the area that cut out hexagon, is it a hexagon? What's the shape
of what
in front of home plate that goes out to the grass?
Oh, sure. We'll say it's a hexagon.
All right.
We're all
whatever.
You know what? We'll be dumb together.
Whatever
hexagon.
Whatever geometrical shape that is.
Sure.
On night 2, it was dark brown.
Yeah, they watered.
They watered the hell out of it.
I'm just saying, it's wild to me that when you think about how other sports conduct themselves, that Major League Baseball.
You didn't go in advance,
right? Or nobody had any.
You didn't 2 weeks ago go in and say, "Hey, the field is too dry. We've watched 2 nights in a row. The ground balls are too fast. In front of the plate, it's too choppy. We need to change the grounds here." To your point, in a PGA Tour event, they come in months before say, "We need to change this. You need to go ahead and mow out this fairway a little bit wider.
Correct.
And that rough needs to be another half inch longer."
Yeah, somebody from Major League Baseball.
We still talking
Do we need to go?
We're still talking about golf?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You know,
why are you looking at sweet bitch?
Yeah, be a little shorter.
Knock it off.
All I know is
that's your hard transition.
Yeah.
I was trying to help you out.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking somebody in MLB, what they call, they're like, I talked to Jimmy who runs concessions. He says the field looks good.
Yeah.
Let the boys play. I mean, I just don't understand how
I didn't think they did.
Your transition.
So the hard
think it's
transition
weird.
is 2 days ago I played in a Badger basketball booster overtime club event.
Yep.
So we finish, and I'm backed up. My chair is backed up to Joe Krabenhoff's chair.
Is he bigger than you?
He is.
Okay.
By a lot. And I said, Joe, Vikings are the last place team in the division this year.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, what are you talking? They've got Kyler Murray. I said, wait, what? So he's making the argument that Kyler Murray is maybe the second best quarterback in the division right now. He said Jared Goff is easily the best. And I do think if all things are equal.
Easily, though?
If all things are equal and it's blocked up in front of you, Jared Goff is a really good quarterback.
Sure, yes, no doubt about it.
Really good quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah.
So is Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
And the Vikings let him go.
Right.
So then we get into this. I said this on the show.
This conversation makes me uncomfortable already.
I said this on the show this morning. So we're having this.
Right.
This is how passionate Krabenhoff is.
All right.
We're having this conversation.
The voices get raised?
A little bit. And then Patrick Herb is doing an interview for The Room. It's an outside venue, but he's doing an interview for The Room with Greg Gard. And Joe's still talking to Kyler about Kyler to me. Mm-hmm. Finally, I don't know who it is, but thank you. Some guy walked up from behind and tapped Joe. Would you guys stop? Coach Gard is talking. So I did one of these. Like, hell, the last thing I need to be is a distraction for Greg Gard, 15 feet away from me. And I think Joe, I had my back to him, so I think he also. But
Kyler Murray.
Okay, so
otherwise known as Poor Man Mahomes.
This was the hard pivot.
Imagine if you were small and quick and could throw, but not quite as well as the other guy.
Or not.
You'd be Kyler Murray.
I mean, Kyler Murray has never been Russell Wilson, which is the only guy you can make the comp to.
And Mahomes. They're similarly sized, wouldn't you say? Murray's smaller than Mahomes. Mahomes isn't a big guy.
Murray's faster than both those guys, would be my guess.
That'd be my guess, too.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's not done.
All right.
But he's not. The track record's not there.
No.
So you can't. In Krabenhoff, that's emotion taking over objective thought.
Talking to you.
What about his first-round draft pick?
Yeah, he didn't even go, JJ. All right, so.
And that's by the way, there is a track record of not being able to play 17 games. Not like there isn't with Jordan Love, but and availability is the best ability.
And also a track record of, does this guy do the work? The homework.
Oh, yeah.
The study work. Okay, so if I were, and I've done this on the air, but I'll do it again now. If I were to rank the quarterbacks in the division, if the pocket is clean, I got 2 rankings.
Well, if the pocket is
okay, all right. So if you've got a good offensive line, if you've got a really trusted offensive line, best quarterback in the division for me, it goes in this order: Goff, Love, Caleb, Kyler.
Yep.
Now, if I don't trust my offensive line, it changes. Goff drops to 3rd, maybe 4th. If I don't trust the line in front of him, he's no better than 3rd in the division. I would go Love.
No. You can't look. Keep going. Continue. I'll fight you.
I don't have to. I would go. Just let me, and then you can. Then you shoot me down. If I don't trust my offensive line, I would go Love, Caleb, Murray, Goff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to flip it a little bit. No. Trust my line, Goff is 1. Don't trust my line, he's 4.
Love's, and I'm an apologist. Love statistically under pressure is a vastly different quarterback. That is until he proves differently. No. Look. It's all they talked about last year. Heller, you're watching baseball in December.
Hold, please. I thought Love against the Blitz a year ago was outstanding.
Not under pressure. Not when
against the Blitz. Yes, on the run, no.
Not on the run, no. And both matter. Both are offensive line.
Okay. So issues. All right. So rank your quarterbacks 1 through 4 in the division if you don't trust your line.
I mean,
if you don't trust your offensive line,
Caleb's going to throw 57 fucking percent whether the line sucks or is great.
I'm not
But he's
asking.
going to make all those tough throws when the line sucks.
So are you putting him at 1?
If I had a dog shit line and a guy was running for his life, right now I would put Caleb 1. Absolutely. After what he did towards the end of the season.
Well, wait a second. I mean, his dog shit line was there last year, and he completed 57% of his throws and had a quarterback rating of 89.
I know.
You know who Caleb Williams is? We'll take us back to golf.
I own that.
Caleb Williams is the guy you play in a scramble with.
Yeah.
Who he hits 4 shots that win you 4 holes.
Yeah.
His other,
talks about.
and it's all everybody talks about.
That's a great analogy.
His other 80 strokes are God knows where.
I would put Goff.
Imagine Courtney took this to golf.
No, I'm just saying Caleb Williams.
It's a good one.
But thank you. But he's a highlight reel player. I say this all the time with Caleb. The amazing plays are amazing. And look, let's be honest. They had a better record than us, and all those things happened last year. But I don't want Caleb Williams as my guy every now.
I think it's Goff, Love, Caleb, Kyler, no matter what the line's doing, no matter what the line's doing.
You would have a bad line in Goff as your top quarterback?
Your argument you're making right now is that since he's been at Detroit, he's had a great line every year.
I think he had a really good line 2 years ago and a really good offensive coordinator.
He was really
last year. He didn't have his host, and the line wasn't good.
Yeah, but they were bad last year.
They were bad. He was like, I don't know what his numbers were, so I don't.
It's also a little bit skewed because of the talent that he has around. He has the skilled talent he has around him is ridiculous. If you gave Jordan Love those 2 running backs, now only one,
yeah,
and those receivers. We're going to the NFC Championship game with that talent. And I'm hoping the guys we have now on that roster can compete at that level. But that talent at receiver and running back that'll make up for a lot of shitty offensive
Here's something
lines.
the 3 of us can agree on.
Yeah.
And if
What
Krabenhoft isn't this will be fun though. And if Krabenhoft isn't listening, but it will pretend he is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who the Vikings start at quarterback between J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray. Yeah. They're the 4th best team in the division.
Yeah.
I don't care
that's where I live.
Yeah, the quarterback matters 0. They can start whoever they want at quarterback.
Okay, so let me ask this question. If I don't tell you who's on your offense and I say you got to pick your quarterback for the next 3 seasons in this division.
Yep.
Draft.
Sure. Well, I'll just sound like a homer, but if I've got to pick my starting quarterback for the next 3 seasons, I'll go Love, Goff, Williams, and then
whoever.
I'll probably take J.J. McCarthy because Kyler Murray will probably burn out before we get 3 years in.
I agree with that. By the way, I was at the Vikings-Packer game. That meant nothing. But I only went because a buddy put us on the field right next to where the stupid boat comes out, the Viking ship. So we were 20 yards, same level, away from McCarthy anytime they were in the red zone. That guy will never throw a mid-level, drop it in the basket, 20-yard pass in his entire life. It's never going to – he is wildly talented, has way more arm strength than I thought coming out of Michigan he had.
Yes.
I guess I didn't watch enough Michigan football. It's not going to be – unless they can teach that guy what Brady and Peyton Manning had, which okay, who can do that? Love can make that pass. Malik Willis made that pass last year multiple times. So, yeah, I agree with the draft.
And I just happen to believe.
I think Love got a ceiling there.
Love, Goff, you went to?
Yeah, because I just happen to believe that the Bears, it feels like in the last, we'll just be polite and say in the last 30 years, since essentially the start of the Favre, Rodgers, right? Even that was 93, 34 years. I understand. Yeah. But I feel like about every decade, 8 years maybe, the Bears have a season. If you go back and look, it was probably about 10 years. Yeah, but they have a season
where they're Super Bowl in 06,
right,
against Indianapolis.
And then I was just looking, they had let's see,
they played us in an NFC Championship game in
2010, right? So, but they have a season.
With Caleb Haney,
and did you just pull Caleb Haney?
Caleb Haney, yeah.
He was a 4th-string quarterback, wasn't he?
Well, Cutler left the game.
Cutler left, and then second string was out. I was at. Oh yeah. I think Haney was 3.
All I know is
he almost won the damn game, by the way.
If you go through the Bears season last year and you do you think they will win 6 or 7 games in the last 2 minutes?
No.
Again this year?
No, they won, and they won 8, I believe, in the last 2 minutes.
So let me enter into the draft.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know my receivers, my offensive line, anything. And if I'm picking my quarterback out of this division in a draft for the next 3 years, I'm going to take
Caleb Williams.
Caleb's going to be 1, Love 2, and then I don't care.
Well, yeah, because Goff's just at an age that if you're talking
Goff, I don't know what he's going to look like 3 years from now.
Can Caleb fix what the parts that are broke?
Maybe. And the problem is for Packers fans, and I because I'm just being honest about how I view it. The problem is Ben Johnson, as much as I think he's a jerk, he's a good coach.
Sure he is. He's a good football coach.
He's a really good offensive football coach who speaks the quarterback's language. And I think the combo of Caleb and Ben Johnson has a chance to be really good. And I would hate it, but I think that can happen. So I'm going to here it's like buying a stock. I'm going to buy at 50 because I think in 3 years it could be at 500. Because I think that stock could explode or it could stay right where it is.
You know who else I think is a really good offensive coach who speaks quarterback's language? Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
No, I do think Kevin O'Connell's that guy.
100%. But he's had bad quarterbacks to speak to. He spoke really well to Sam Darnold.
Right.
And then Kofi, who's gone now, but I won't try his last name because they're middle and last name. They effed up on what they did with McCarthy. That was a mistake. KOC is a really good quarterback coach, and now they bring in Kyler Murray, whose issue is dude doesn't study. He doesn't put the work in.
Right.
And that's who you decide to bring in for Kevin O'Connell's offense, who I think is a really, really good coach.
I do too. And I quote Kevin O'Connell a lot. He has one of my favorite quotes of the last few years, which is more teams have failed quarterbacks than quarterbacks have failed teams. And then when you see what he did with Sam Darnold, you believe that. I think actually my understanding is McCarthy was what he wanted.
Kevin O'Connell wanted McCarthy?
Yeah, that's my understanding. Now, there might be people who know a lot more than me. And you do wonder this is a little bit of a situation where the GM and the ownership, because they think their coach is so smart, maybe let him get a little over his skis, like the Seahawks did once upon a time with Mike Holmgren. Like maybe you let him you should have just said, hey, we got this guy, Sam Darnold, and you took him off the scrap heap and you made him a Pro Bowl quarterback. Maybe just spitballing ideas here. Maybe we just stick with that, right? Yeah. Instead, you went and you picked and let's be honest, anybody who watched J.J. McCarthy in college, I don't know half of what Kevin O'Connell knows. I watched enough of that to know I had no idea what he was thinking. Yeah. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Yeah. But it never looked good.
Well, and he also had a team. His uniform didn't get dirty on that team.
Oh.
The average age was like 26.
It's almost 6, and you haven't talked uniforms yet.
Yeah. All right. So do you guys have any parting thoughts before I kick you back to have another NA and you to have another varsity?
I have one parting thought.
Okay, do it.
Because I'm a football honk. Very excited. Recruiting class is coming together hot. I will say this. I don't know what we're ever going to learn. I know you say this, we need more transparency in college football. I don't know that we're ever going to learn what more money means. But based on the talent they're picking up on the recruiting trail and the offers these kids had from other schools, there's a significant – now, I know we all know talent's talent. As my cousin would say, fuck stars. We can all say all those things, okay?
What's wrong with fucking stars?
Right, exactly. But I will say it doesn't change the fact that you're not getting those kids without an investment. So I'm excited to see where it takes us. And I'm always torn this time of year because minicamp starts and it's the recruiting season. And I also don't want summer to be over.
Let me react to yours and then you can give a parting shot. I love what the recruiting front is showing.
Yes.
These are all class of 27 guys.
Correct.
Yeah.
The only thing that Mark Tauscher said this, the only thing that matters right now is 26.
Agreed.
I get it. That 27 class matters. If they don't win this fall, half of that 27 class is going to verbally decommit and reopen to go somewhere else.
Agreed.
So I think this team can win. Mm-hmm. So I'm in your camp.
Yep.
I think that Wisconsin football this year is an 8-win team, maybe 9.
I agree.
If they're 8 or 9, then 27 in that class you're talking about, look out.
Here we go.
Because here we go.
Yep.
If this team doesn't win, then the 27 class falls apart and you've got a new coach that comes in late.
Can't put the cart in front of the horse.
All right. You Do you have a parting thought?
Beans can't get
Mr. Hilly?
I'll tack onto that. It's not just 2026. It's 2027 freshmen are not going to produce on the field until 2028, in some cases 2029, 2030. So and to further complicate matters, we're going to have to recruit, and let's get them in the door. All you can do in the offseason is what we've done.
Yep.
And that's go out and recruit really good players and sign. It's all we can do.
Keep the really good ones you have.
But we're going to have to re-recruit that entire class all the way through 27. If they're proving their worth, their stars, we're going to have to recruit them another. So
the first two recruits of this class were Mason Posa and Cooper Catalano.
Yep.
Oh, wait, they were freshmen last year.
Yeah.
They were the first two recruits for 2026.
Yep.
Yeah, and let's hope we can get 2027 guy. I mean, they're saying Ryder can get on the field right away, but it's really hard to start at a Power 4 program freshman year.
And we shouldn't forget, shout out to Crab and Houghton guard, because Jalen Brown is all right.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah, big. I mean, that's a big deal.
The other Jalen Brown.
Well, that shouldn't be undersold. That is a huge deal in the world of college basketball.
I appreciate you.
You bet.
That wasn't as good as the sweet bitch slap I heard before, but it was good.
Appreciate
We'll work on the cup.
I'm kicking these guys out because I'm bringing in Diana. Let me introduce you to Diana Rankin. And I want to make sure I say the name properly, because any improper there could cause problems. So, oh, shoot, I needed that before we talk outfits. So Diana and Craig have become very good friends of both Kari and I. They are fantastic people, and I appreciate our friendship. Let me start with that. Now let's talk about outfits. So your biggest pet peeve with a baseball player is what?
I'm very sad that I did a little bit of show prep, and I left my phone at home because I
Oh.
had a photo to show. And a perfect example of my biggest pet peeve is something that you committed as an athlete.
What?
The pants over the socks.
Oh, so when I did Brewers fantasy camp, I wore my pants as long pants.
Yes, I don't like that a bit. Show the socks.
Wait, now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that fashion started in St. Louis, and I believe you might be a Cardinals fan. And if I would go back to the day, I think Gary Templeton.
I don't support them wearing their pants long.
Was Gary Templeton in St. Louis, or was he Philadelphia? Yeah, I'm looking. So Gary Templeton, I think, is one of the original long pantsers.
Could have been, but I don't support that.
What are you? You support that? Okay, so you like seeing the stirrups.
I like seeing the socks. I
The
want to
socks
see the
have
stripes
stirrups, yeah.
or the pattern, whatever's on the socks.
Okay.
And maybe there's room for additional patterns on the socks.
Okay, so now part two. I raised 4 daughters and then 2 more with Ellen and Morgan. But Georgia used to call football pants capris.
Yes.
I mean, that's fair, right?
Accurate.
But now those capris that they're wearing many times are above the knee. I don't know if you've noticed that. Are you okay with the football pants being above the knee?
Skin showing?
In college, they can show skin.
Yes.
In the NFL, they can't.
Well, I think the danger of showing your skin is you're going to get a rub on there when you get tackled.
But that's their issue, right? What
I
about
don't
the
care.
fashion side of it? You don't mind how it looks?
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Okay. What are the other fashion faux pas? Like, do you mind color combos?
Some of them are bad. I will say, I hate to alienate anyone. I am a fan of the United States. I am a veteran. I say this as a Navy veteran.
Thank you.
In the Olympics, Team Canada, their hockey outfit, tough. They had a very tough outfit.
So in soccer,
that black and red, very tough.
In soccer, they're called kits.
Mm-hmm.
In hockey, that is a sweater.
Sweater, yes. I almost wore my blue sweater today, but then I didn't. It's too
but you
hot.
didn't.
It's very warm in here.
And you like the Canadian hockey
sweater? Yes.
Yeah, and you don't like the USA as much,
Not
even
as
though
much.
but you obviously were rooting for Team USA,
especially the women. Yes.
Okay. So your husband is a significant fan of the Chicago Cubs.
Not a fan.
You're not a fan.
No.
What about their color scheme and the Cubby logo and all that?
It's cute. I mean, it's cute. It's not tough.
It's cute. Good in baseball.
No. You want to be tough, not cute.
Okay. I think now here I'm going to give a little credit to your team. I think the STL, the St. Louis logo, script, color combo is about as good as it gets.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that a reason you're a Cardinals fan?
No, it's because I'm from the area. But also, I think Baltimore, the Orioles, if you want a good color combo, I like the Orioles. I like their logo. I like the orange and black.
Yeah. What doesn't work?
Tampa Bay.
All right. What about the creamsicle Tampa Bay? You know, with the old creamsicle orange look.
That's better.
You like that?
Better.
Yeah. Somebody. Who was it? Oh, was that you? Yeah. She said color scheme that doesn't work. Green and gold. Whatever. You seen your Cubs record of late? Huh? Where else can we go with this? All right, what about baseball managers?
Oh, question from the audience.
How do you feel about football players in the mid?
I'm not a fan of that.
No,
not a fan. Okay. No, not a fan of that.
What about
the Bosworth, the neck roll?
So
also, I don't care for when players have their hair out under their helmets. I don't like that either.
Okay. So Troy Polamalu, not your favorite?
Nope.
How about Clay Matthews?
I'm not sure who that
Clay
is.
Matthews played for the Packers. Long flowing hair, always did this.
I wouldn't care for that.
You
I
didn't
don't
like
care
that?
who it is. No.
Okay. Baseball managers wearing the uniform.
They look ridiculous. I mean, imagine if football coaches were out there in their football pads. Ridiculous.
So we were having this conversation because you and Craig went with Kari and I to the AmFam over the weekend, and I think you both pointed out the women more than the men.
Yes.
Who go to a golf tournament wearing golf attire.
It was more noticeable in the women because it was clear that they were wearing their little golf outfits that they would be wearing if they were out golfing rather than as a spectator. For you were probably wearing the same thing you would wear as a golfer, but it wasn't
other than the
as
shoes.
obvious.
Other than the shoes,
Right.
yes. Okay.
But there was some people there in their little golf dress and they were just walking around watching.
Yeah.
They didn't need to be in their golf dress.
So neither you nor Kari knows the answer to this, but Darren Clark and Ben Crane won the tournament. Okay.
Yes.
Right. What was your biggest takeaway about Ben Crane being in the winner's circle when it was said and done? What were you guys commenting on when they were receiving the trophy?
Oh, his wife's outfit? Yes.
I thought it was about, by the way, Ben Crane and Darren Clark win the tournament, and Kari is shopping online for the romper for Ben Crane's wife's romper.
It's so cute.
Should be here tomorrow.
I thought that was we shared a moment. I made eye contact with Ben Crane and I smiled and he smiled back. I thought that's what we were talking about. But no, his wife's outfit was definitely on point and her hat.
I thought the romper was something that Ben Crane and his wife were going to do after they won the tournament back at the hotel room.
That's not anything I need to know about. That's their private business.
That's what I thought. With $380,000 in their pocket, and there might have been a romping going on.
Oh yes,
And a Louis bag.
Yes, and we were gonna knock her down and steal the strap. So we did. We would have left the bag and stolen the strap. And we would have.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we were gonna steal the bumper too.
Ben can, you can't. All right. We did. We just talked about baseball managers. It's a silly concept. Was there anything else we wanted to get to, or?
I think that just about covers it for this go round. Yeah.
Okay. This go. Diana says it. Then listen, it's possible. This could be a once every week or two deal.
I have lots of thoughts. I could prepare something next time with like diagrams and such.
I didn't know that you would show today. Because I brought it, I sent her a note and said, "Hey, we're going to do this on the show Thursday at Red and White." It is Thursday, isn't it? Yeah. I said we're going to do this Thursday, and you didn't give much of a response. Boy, were you worried about this?
No, I'm not worried. I just think
Let's see.
People might not care about my opinions about outfits.
230 YouTube watchers. I don't know how many are on X, but I think you probably made fans. You want to give out email addresses?
No, I don't. I don't. don't, and you can keep your comments to yourself. I don't care
My
about
comments?
your comments. No,
those.
if they're negative, I don't
The
want to know.
comments there aren't directed to you yet. They might be later, and I'll only share the good ones.
I only want to know positives. Only positive vibes. Positive vibes only. Thank you.
Hey, listen, I'll just say this. You did great first time through for somebody who didn't want to do it. We've joked about this. I won't. I don't
We've been
think
talking
I'll,
about this for a long time.
I don't think I'll ever share the AI video that I had produced because I don't think it would play well for me down the road at some point. But the AI,
it's really funny.
We're
Probably
talking,
better than this.
We're talking about outfits. Might play really well at some point. Diana, you did great.
Well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Jimmy, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
I'm good. Good to see you.
In a different circumstance, last week we were visiting outside the media center at TPC, Wisconsin. This week we're talking, and there we were talking Bucks too. But now let me ask you about that kind of self-imposed deadline that Jimmy Haslam put out there when he met with the media a while back on the introduction to the new head coach. And he said, we want to have this wrapped up at that point in 6 weeks before the NBA draft, either the Supermax contract signed with Giannis to stay here or a trade. So give me your sense of what Jimmy was doing when he put that out there. And do you believe it is kind of a hard stop on getting a deal done before the draft, which is 11 days from now?
Yeah. So Jimmy clarified a little bit after that of why he picked that date. And it was because if you're going to trade Giannis, you want the most assets. And the implication there, Mike, is an additional 2026 first round pick, right? Like that's the most assets would be something in this very strong draft. Ideally, it's in the top, it's in the lottery still, whether it's strong or not, like all of this talent sort of winnows out after the lottery for sure. And definitely later than, say, Miami's pick at number 13. Was there a little football there in Jimmy? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he doesn't know that NBA drafts are not like NFL drafts, right? Yeah. In terms of the shallowness of talent. But it made sense. Like, to me, it sort of put out there, like, what the Bucks would be looking for. And it makes sense. You're trading Giannis Antetokounmpo, Mike. Like, yeah, all of it, right? And it starts with this draft coming up. So the artificial deadline's interesting because now, right, the finals are still ongoing.
Yeah.
But, what I'm hearing reports are starting to bubble up because June 23rd is right around the corner. But it is self-imposed. They don't have to trade him at all.
Right.
So you're right, Mike. It's a self-imposed deadline that is just going to chum the waters here, especially if nothing is done in the next 10 days or so.
What is game 7 Wednesday? If it gets to a 7, is it Wednesday?
June 19th. I don't know what that's a week from today, correct?
Okay. So next Friday would be a game 7. I mean, there's a few extra off days in there, by the way.
Yeah.
So they're not going to make this deal before the NBA finals wrap. Is that a fair assumption to make? You kind of want this story to be the story. And if the finals are still going on, I don't think the NBA would love it. And maybe Giannis and the Bucks wouldn't love it. Do you think that is a fair look between the NBA finals and the draft is the most likely timing?
So just so your listeners, viewers know, they can make the draft right now or the trade right now as we're speaking, Mike. There's nothing preventing the Bucks other than I don't believe Cleveland's involved in this. But let's use Cleveland as an example. That could be an agreed upon trade, but can't take place till July just because of the apron stuff. But if we're talking about Miami, Boston, Orlando, or, a team we're not thinking about, that could be done now. Not Oklahoma City. They're in the apron, so like it. So now to your question, I don't think the league, I don't know if the league would impress upon their other teams how to do their business. Like, I don't think Adam Silver's going to say, don't consummate a trade that you need to get done by June 23rd until June 21. You know what I mean? Now, that's different, though, Mike, than, say, what does the acquiring team want? What does Giannis want?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
What does he want his trade being broken in halftime of game 5 or 6?
Right.
Or does he want, if he's traded, does he want to post his Instagram farewell to Milwaukee at 9 a.m. Central and be the story? That I don't know. But I will say this, if people are wondering, like, why does that matter? It does matter. And the team that's acquiring him, maybe even the Bucks, will sort of play ball in a way that sort of let him have the day, let him manage the message, say goodbye, say hello, kind of do all those things. So, but that's just a guess. The league, I don't think, would keep them from doing business, though.
So, in other words, Giannis has a say here. I mean, he's got a say in a lot of this, but if he's going to be part of the trade conversation, he has a say, and he may want to say, don't put ink on paper or put this out until, this is when I want it out there. So, I mean, that's a possibility. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the most say that he has is in the deal itself, Mike. Meaning, the Bucks are working out these deals, and then either they have to tell Giannis, "Hey, we're talking to Team X," and he communicates, "Well, I'm not going to extend." So that's the most say. The PR part, I think, would be icing on the cake. Yeah. But again, Mike, in this business, there are a lot of people who do our jobs that don't care about that kind of thing. So they're trying to get the news when it's done. But yeah, so I do think for as much as anything can be managed, sure. Why wouldn't the big fella look? Milwaukeeans know he broke his last 2 contract extensions out of the blue, and because he wanted to do that. And I think the teams involved would probably respect that too, because it just builds up the goodwill with him, but also their fan base get excited.
We visited on this 6 weeks ago or so, and you and I might have differed then a little bit on the best path to being highly competitive in the Eastern Conference again. You think at the time, at least, if I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you thought it's the best path was still with Giannis. Yeah. Have you changed in that at all? Or part 2 to this, your belief that they will move Giannis, has that changed since we last visited a month and a half ago?
Okay, so I'll do the last part first. Yeah. I mean, I do think they're more likely to do a deal. Now, I'm not going to put a percentage on that. I just feel like once you open the door to listening, Mike, because in the past, they didn't even listen. It was no, and that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Once you listen, and look, feelings are involved. Jimmy said it. Once agents are involved, players are involved. Look, Giannis asked for an investigation into the team, Mike. No one really talked about that. Like, Jimmy didn't talk about it. John didn't talk about it. But, I mean, I work for someone. You work for someone. I can't imagine, your bosses are like, we like that, right? So there's probably some hurt feelings in there. We know there were hurt feelings with Giannis. So add that in with we are willing to listen. Add that, and then no one knows then what sounds good. So to me, yes, they are more likely to do a deal than ever before because they open to it, they want to listen, and who knows what might sway them. Now to your first question, look, if the Milwaukee Bucks want to win an NBA championship in the next 4 years, the best path is with Giannis. I realize the New York Knicks have one All-NBA player. They had no one in the MVP voting. It's like the first time in decades. Like, basically, this version of the Knicks, Mike, is the version of the Pistons, right? Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, which, by the way, there's a handful of Hall of Famers in there. But at the time, Richard Hamilton, right? It was like, oh, the team. This Knicks team is going to prove to be the outlier in that they didn't have an MVP. They didn't have a superstar. Either way, the Bucks are so far away from having a collection of talent like that. Yeah. And trying to win in the next 4 years, you do it with Giannis. Now, what I will say, Mike, to those maybe like yourself, they're not going to be in the wilderness, though. Like in the old construct, we won't bore the listeners. The new CBA, the new lottery rules in the next 3 years will help them get out of mediocrity.
Yeah.
It will prevent them from being a 30-win team. The cycle of this, the manufactured parity that the league has worked so hard to create, will buoy the Bucks up. And now what does that mean? Maybe is their ceiling 51, 52 wins in the second round in 3 years? You know, we'll see what they turn all this into. But championship contention, Mike, I don't see currently as we speak a parade without Giannis, at least for a while.
If Giannis had been healthy and played 68 to 70 games this last year, are they a playoff team?
Oh, yeah.
And first round team, but I mean, not a playoff team that was going to compete for an Eastern Conference Finals berth. Like, is that?
So that's funny, Mike. If we're playing the hypothetical game, I mean, Detroit barely got out of the first round with Orlando. You mean to tell me if Giannis was at full capacity with the guy that we saw average 34, 13, and 7?
Yeah.
In his fully healthy, you know what I'm saying? Like Detroit barely did this.
I know what you're saying. Yes.
And so, okay, the Knicks are clearly the best team in basketball right now. Did the Cavs look like any? So I guess where I'm going with this is yes, if Giannis was healthy, full capacity, Kevin Porter Jr., who knows? Let's pretend we're in a hypothetical world. If Kevin could have finished the season, second round, and then maybe is Giannis still like, look, man, this is as far as we could go, and maybe he's still rattling the saber. But if that were the case, I think ownership changes their mind and is like, man, we're another piece away, and maybe not a star, but another Turner type piece away, or another Bledsoe type, right? Like, because Drew was not, he's a Hall of Famer now, but at the time, he hadn't made an all-star team in 8 years or so. So, Mike, I think if he was healthy, we're having a whole different conversation.
Yeah. That's a really interesting conversation, though. In his 31 turning 32 season, which is this next year, he's 31 now, his birthday's in December. He hasn't been fully healthy now for a bit. How much of a concern does that become for either the acquiring team or if he stays in Milwaukee?
Yeah, this is entirely legitimate, Mike, because he is going to be 32. And it was 2 calf strains, whatever the degree, right? It was it was an adductor strain. It was another hyperextension in that left knee, which since the Eastern Conference Finals he had one surgery to clean it up. But that's legitimate. I don't think the Bucks, I think they know these concerns, but look, Wes and Jimmy were like, we'll give them the max, right? And I believe that. I believe the Bucks were the team that whatever the concerns were would be like, what? He's our guy. It doesn't matter, right? I think for other teams, it's a thought. But really, Mike, though, if another team is trading for Giannis, think about it. It's a 2-year It's a 2-year window for them.
Sure. Yeah.
Because then after that, the aprons and all the other stuff kick in. And in reality, Mike, if whatever team gets him doesn't win a title in the next 2 years, he's being traded again. And, it's a different end of his career.
Of the teams that are out there, I know that we've seen a pretty public display of what Miami has put on the table, whether that's real or not. What was your reaction to that? Okay, so it is real. Your reaction to that, is that the type of package that the Bucks would pull the trigger on? What's your view of it?
Yeah, so Miami's real, largely, Mike, because they're managing their media, their fan base. Yeah. The reality of this is they have not acquired a superstar via trade since 2004, which was Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
No star has come there on their own since LeBron James in 2013. So Miami is like Miami is very public because I think they have to be to show that they are trying. Okay. I think where the Bucks are at, Mike, and I don't know this, and clearly no one knows this, even if you read what's been published, because they're not talking, is I think what the Bucks are trying to decide is, do we want stuff? Do we want the most stuff? Right? Yeah. Where when you look at an Excel sheet and you see Giannis up here and then 10 things here, which I'm like, it's okay, but it's a lot of stuff. Or is it the best individual player, which in my opinion, I would be like, say, Paolo Banchero. Flawed, yes, but 23 years old, room to grow. Clearly the better individual player than, say, Tyler Hero. But Anthony Black, better individual player than, Kel'el Ware.
Yeah.
But Orlando has 2 picks, and Paolo's under a max for the next 4 years, right? So there's financial flexibility to consider. So it's stuff. It's, do we want this one player? Do we want picks, but also the chance to maybe have cap space and room? So there's a lot here, Mike, for the Bucks to work through, and it's really about them. Where are they going post Giannis? And that's an unanswerable question until they actually pick a path here.
Is that a better scenario? Are draft assets all good? Because you got to spend the money on those draft assets as well. The Bucks positioned to handle draft assets. And back to the original part of the question, again, this is opinion driven, right? Is a greater return more high level draft assets or more players that are current in the system now that you can work from?
It's a great question. So I think the league is still trying to figure out, Mike, what draft assets mean in the next 3 years. I think if you're the Bucks, it wouldn't. Sure, Portland makes sense to loop in because you get your own picks back, but the Bucks are trying to win. If they win 42 games, they're picking 13th. No matter that's kind of whatever.
Sure.
Obviously, any team with Giannis, you would expect in the next 2 to 3 years to be better. So I think the 2026 draft, at the start of this conversation, Mike, if there is a lottery pick in there, or maybe another first rounder John can flip to move up, that might be more valuable. But going ahead, Mike, I think the picks are valuable more for the next star. And what I mean by that is, okay, you use your 26 draft to bolster your team. Can you flip your picks in 29, 30 to 33 for name the next star who's under contract?
Yeah, right.
Because you're not getting that guy in free agency. They become the capital to, let's say you kind of build up your base and you're like, okay, well, we haven't found our next star.
Yeah.
But we've got a good core. That's why you want this 5 picks from Miami or Boston or whatever. That's what it's for.
Well, let me add this in. This is my view or opinion on this. I think you have a 3-year window to win with the style of basketball that Giannis plays. Because I think as he approaches 35, because of the physical nature of the manner in which he plays, he's not a great shooter. He's never going to be a great shooter. He's got to play incredibly athletically, which I believe diminishes 35 and beyond, health-wise, whatever. So if you're trying to win now, what does that pathway look if you keep him? What is the pathway to playing into late May and June look like if Giannis stays on the Bucks, and can they get there?
Here's a funny thing, Mike. First of all, they have a head coach who's invested and is in the modern game. This is the Taylor Jenkins question, Mike. Yeah. If they run it back with Giannis and Miles Turner and a coach who actually knows what to do with those 2 guys and Ryan Rollins in your backcourt, they will have to make a move. They would have to leverage a swap, or a pick out into the 31 to 33. That's the commitment you're making if you choose Giannis. I don't think they really care about that. Because if you're choosing Giannis, to your point, Mike, it's to win a title in the next 3 years. Who cares about 2033? There might be 2 different owners at that point.
Worry about that then.
So yeah, I think this is a Taylor Jenkins question, and I think it's look, Taylor has not gotten past the second round, but he had a team that won 56 games with a small point guard. I think to me, Mike, if I was GM, I'm running it back with Giannis. I'm taking Yaxel Lengenberg at number 10 because here's a high floor, maybe lower ceiling guy who can affect winning and defend and connect the team, what this team has been missing for 4 years. And then you're trading out Kyle Kuzma and some of those other picks to maybe find not a all-star. And that's the thing. That's where then it turns into managing Giannis and getting him to buy in and believe. And then we're kind of doing a different dance with him through the summer. But, that's what I would do if I was taking we're keeping Giannis route, because as we said, Mike, if he's healthy, and that's what everyone's assuming and expecting, it's going to be really good under Taylor Jenkins. They're just going to be more competent than they have been the last 3 years. Yeah. So, it's not that far away.
So Jim Osarski, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, JS Online, joining us. Let me ask you a couple of organizational questions, and then we'll let you get out the door. In this run, since they won the NBA title, they've tried to do some things, and the Damian Lillard thing, to me, like, I back it up and go to in current time, not 2020, and loved the move. It didn't work, but the organization has made some significant mistakes from then to now. You're there every day. What's the biggest mistake that they have made over the last few years, and is it coaching?
Yeah, I mean, coaching is the one. I mean, without a question, Adrian Griffin, Doc Rivers are failures. And that has a lot to do with, I think, the regular season issues. And I would argue that the last Indiana series that Giannis was available for, even though they traded Chris at that point, even though Dame was hurt, I do think if Doc Rivers did some different things, they at least beat Indiana. Or, I mean, I guess it was a 5-game series. Maybe it's 7 games and, you're feeling a little different. So, yeah, I think the coaching stuff has been a mistake. The Dame trade, I think in retrospect, that had a ripple effect, right, with the team, team construct. However, I don't know if we ever saw Dame and Giannis operate at full capacity when they were together. And I do think some of that was coaching. I think they needed a strong hand and a voice to make that work a little better than it did. And on paper, Mike, it was fabulous. Yeah. Right. And of course, like, look, the injury stuff is a real thing. Like, there's nothing Doc could do about Giannis missing the 24 playoffs. There's nothing Doc could do about a blood clot and a torn Achilles. There's nothing Doc could do about Chris Middleton needing 2 ankle surgeries. Yeah. Even though he was sublime in his last playoff run with the Bucks in Indiana 3 years ago. So, but to your point, Mike, the organization has tried. I do point this out. They spent nearly $1 billion, $1 billion with a B, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on salaries and taxes from 2020 to 2025. They've traded out draft picks through 2030. So if they do choose to move on from Giannis, I may think that doesn't make sense in an immediate basketball decision, but I can't argue with it. Like, they won a title and they leveraged everything to try to do it again. And
what worries you? This is when we're talking about in-state organizational decisions. This one is more significant than when Aaron Rodgers left, and I think from when Brett Favre left, because there is no next. The Giannis isn't sitting. There isn't another Giannis that sat on the bench the last 3 years learning from this Giannis. So what worries you about this decision? Well, you're a reporter and share opinions on it. What worries you about what they're going to do next?
So they trade Giannis. I do think Taylor Jenkins will be fine. He was hired in Memphis from Milwaukee. 6 days later, they drafted John Morant. Now, granted, he had a strong base. Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks were already there. Second-year guys, right? But he put that together.
Yeah.
So I think on the coaching level, they're fine. What worries me is I have no idea if John Horst or the front office can do this. And it's not a knock. It's just the facts. Like John Horst took over in 2017. Giannis and Chris were on the ascent. And to his credit, he figured out how to build a champion around a very unique player in Giannis and a really nice player in Chris. They cycled through head coaches to do it. They cycled through a lot of draft picks to do it, but they did it. And so I'm really confident if you were to say, let's keep Giannis and do it again. I know John Horst can do that. Excuse me. I don't know if he can draft at number 10, if he can draft at number 8 or 13, if they get another pick. I don't know. I don't know if he can find like is Ousmane Dieng a real dude. I don't know. Ryan Rollins is nice. Can he find other guys like that? That's a mystery. So I would say if it's a worry, that would be the worry is he the right guy? His front office the right people for this? I don't know. But also, generally speaking, look, I cover the Bucks for the Journal-Sentinel. I'm going to be there regardless.
Yep.
I don't know if other people are going to be there. You know what I mean? The Brewers are rolling. The Packers are the Packers. I'm very curious to see how they manage, for lack of a better word, Mike, trading that guy.
Yeah, you kind of jump.
It's not my concern. I'll be there regardless, but I do like basketball. We'll see,
Yeah, you kind of jumped the route on me next because that's where I was going. The Packers are the state's team. The Brewers have great statewide support. The Bucks don't. That's an honest reaction. The Bucks have great statewide support when they're winning, but they are Milwaukee's team more than they are the state's team. And I would argue that where the Packers and Brewers are concerned, they are the state's team. So how critical is this decision and what happens over the next couple of years for the stability of the franchise and fan support in this state?
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder, Mike, if there's you almost kind of crack open the Herb Cole playbooks.
Yeah.
Which is some taglines, which is some marketing that's team specific or like culture specific. You don't have a player anymore. Like they got a wall of old media guides.
Yeah.
Up at, and there were a few years in there where there's like no players. Like it's just like a logo or something.
Right.
When Mike Budenholzer first came, I think his first year they still had a deal, Mike, in Madison, right?
They
training camp out there.
A couple of days of training camp here.
Yeah. Look, man, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it is 2026, but this is a grassroots state.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe there needs to be a little
right now.
Yeah. Especially if you're kind of going all in on a bunch of guys who no one knows, but also in reality, Mike, this could be the start of several more moves where even the guys on this team are then flipped forward. So you can't, so that might be the way to go for the Bucks if they, move on from this era.
Well, we're going to chat at some point at or before the draft. I'll be cognizant of your workload and not interrupt your day job. But let me finish on this. How surprised were you 2 nights ago? And is the NBA Finals over?
I'm surprised that. Look, I guess you can never be surprised a player might have a brain fart in a moment, time and score. De'Aaron Fox clearly had that.
Gosh,
and
that's going to keep him awake. He's going to have nightmares about that for the rest of his life, especially if they don't win the series. They lose the series, he'll live on that. That'll never leave him.
No, and what's got to be disappointing, I guess, if you're the Spurs, is he's the veteran, the guy you gave the max deal to, the veteran point guard. So I'm not surprised entirely, though, Mike. I think the Spurs are the more talented team, but the Knicks are the best team in this final.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of OG Anunoby's like the youngest guy. He's 29.
Yeah.
And he's won a ring. Right. And he was on the 19 Raptors, I believe. So you've got a bunch of like 30-year-old grown men who have played together now for 3 years, 4 years. Like that continuity is so rare in this league. And finally, I think they were a bad matchup for OKC. They're a good matchup for the Spurs because Karl-Anthony Towns, for all of his flaws, Mike, is the type of big that Vic, it's just different for Vic. Like he and that team, right? Like what Giannis, I think, is a Wemby answer in one way.
Sure.
Cat is the answer the other way. And let's put some respect on Cat's name. He's going to, he's an all NBA.
Yeah.
If they win this ring, he's probably going to Hall of Fame. So, no, I'm not that surprised. Also, Wemby's kind of wearing down, and Mike, they manage his minutes. This is the most he's ever played, ever. So the fact he's even lasted this long with some stamina is impressive. But yeah, Mike, parity rules. The Knicks haven't been relevant in 30 years.
Yeah.
And here they won a title in 60 years. So Adam Silver's parity is here.
If the Knicks don't win this, are they a trade candidate?
No, I don't think so. Like I just sort of ran through it. They have nothing. I mean,
gotcha.
There's no why would unless it turns into some weird thing where it's like you're moving guys for more, and that's way too convoluted in my opinion.
Hey, Jimmy, thanks. I appreciate the extra time. I mean, I think I told you it'd probably be about 30 minutes, and here we are at that mark. I appreciate it. I hope you're golfing later today or have golf in store for the weekend. We'll catch up again soon, and thanks for doing this.
All right. Sounds good, Mike. Talk to you soon.